Stories number 1. I went to a comedy show, got called ugly and cried, "I'm 25F," and for my mom's 59th birthday, I took her to see one of her favorite famous comedians last night. She insisted upon sitting in the front row since it's her birthday, and she'd never done so before. I told her repeatedly I really didn't want to since I just wanted to enjoy the show and didn't want to risk being roasted. But I gave in and figured it couldn't be the bad. Though, since the comedian and the crowd were all around, my mom's age, I knew he would say something to me since I stood out as probably the only person under 40 there. Well, my worst fear ended up coming true. Not only did the comedian interact with me, but he said I must have been in a fire because I look way older than my mom. This ruined the rest of the show and I cried immediately afterwards. From where I was sitting, basically no one else but the comedian could see me, so the entire room erupted in laughter. I wanted to disappear. The entirety of the way back home was my mom trying to console me and tell me that it was just an outlandish joke for shock value because I look young for my age, and I'm obviously very attractive. I struggle immensely with my self-esteem and social anxiety. I am in therapy for it. So it feels basically impossible to not take what he said to heart, especially when he made a point to call every other woman he interacted with beautiful. That moment felt like my nightmares of humiliation playing out in real life. Comments. Commenter 1. Never take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. Commenter 2. Been there. Street comedian, friends stopped to watch, and I became the butt of multiple jokes because of my small chest. The jokes wouldn't stop, and he had a loudspeaker on a public street. Been years, and I still think about it, and wished I had snapped, but I was too shy and humiliated. Commenter 3. Being real, and knowing he called all the other 40-plus-year-old women beautiful there, he 100% made fun of you to make his target audience feel better and thus like him more. He probably saw some looks thrown your way and decided to pounce because he saw an opportunity to make those women happy. Also, been in a fire isn't even a good roast. Like that was the best you could come up with? How does that make anyone look older? Commenter 4. Oh honey, that's horrible. Believe it or not, I've had this happen too. I was 16, I think, and went to a comedy show. The dude started talking about ugly people and then stared me dead in the eye. I was confused and looked behind me. Then he says, "You can search behind you, but I'm talking about you." Honestly, I was mortified. Couldn't enjoy the rest of the show because I kept hearing him over and over in my head. I was a really insecure kid and used to be bullied relentlessly. My bullies called me ugly, so I completely believed that this dude was calling me out my ugliness. At the end of the show, he came up to me to apologize. He said he always chose the prettiest girl in the room to make that joke about. He acted like he just gave me a compliment. Like he didn't just humiliated me in front of a lot of people. Like he didn't just ruined my night. Seriously, fuck comedians that need to put their audience on blast in order to make people laugh. Your lack of talent is showing and it sucks. I hope you can understand that your mom is right. He probably chose you because you are young and wouldn't heckle him back. There is nothing wrong with you. Lots of love from an internet stranger. Stories number 2. Aita for refusing to listen to my husband about my breasts. I want to have a breast reduction surgery. I will not be asking him to spend any money on me. We both work, and we put aside equal amount of money for private accounts for private savings and spendings. So please do not make it about money. I have been talking about this surgery since I turned 40, but I have dreamed about it since I was 15. Whenever I spoke about it, he would sit silent and listen, supported me, I thought. Then he asked if I wanted him to go to my first consultation, and I was very happy. Consultations are usually private here, but he wanted to tag along for the first part of the consultation. When I talked to the doctor, who is an internationally respected doctor, my husband sat silent at first. Then he asked when the psychological evaluation would happen. The doctor was puzzled and explained that I am an adult. My husband got irritated and almost yelled, "So you would not mind operating on people with body dysmorphia?" The doctor and nurse were shocked, and I was livid. When we got home, I was destroyed. Amiwe, I am scared I have lost my opportunity with the best surgeon in the country, and probably one of the best in the world. My husband insisted I needed therapy, and that he will not allow me to have the surgery because I look perfect. I asked, him what he meant, not allowing me. I was very angry and crying. He said, "Well, I will do anything. Tell your family you are mentally unstable, and I will leave you." Thankfully, I made a new appointment, and the doctor was too kind. I have my new appointment on Wednesday. My husband is livid, and said he will never look at or touch me again. Comments. Commenter 1. You might lose an extra couple £100 in emotional baggage along with the extra breast tissue, and I could consider that to be a good thing. Men truly don't understand what it's like to have large breasts. Commenter 2. If your whole marriage is contingent on the size of your breasts, he's got to go. Personally, after he said that, I would have shown him the door. At 40-some years old, he can go and try to find the perfect body he wants. Good luck, buddy. Unless he's got real money, he's gonna be very lonely and deserves to be. He's a real piece of work. Commenter 3. Please consult a really good shark attorney and freeze your credit and accounts so that snake of a husband can't drain you dry and he will try. Large breasts can be very painful for women and cause back issues over the years. Many years ago, I worked as a medical assistant for a general practice doctor. One patient had very large breasts after having a bunch of kids. She was miserable as she was quite petite and thin, and those humongous boobs were painful and made clothes shopping very challenging. Her wonderful husband worked tons of overtime in order to afford the surgery. She was a SAHM to their 7 kids, and she took on sewing side work. She had her surgery and was like a new woman. Hubby also took her out shopping for new clothes, bath suits, and was so happy for her. That's a real man. Your husband is a dick. Commenter 4. Your husband is abusive, threatening to tell people you are mentally unwell if you decide to do something you want to. It'd have ended the relationship after he sabotaged the consultation by trying to make the doctor believe you didn't have capacity. What a cruel person he is. I hope you are okay, as he really isn't a decent person. Update. My husband said if I went ahead with surgery he wanted a separation. So yesterday I was here complaining about my husband, and my gut feelings were right after seeing the reactions here that my husband is crossing the boundary by trying to control how my body looks. So this morning I told him this. He just sat silently and listened to me. Then he said that he wasn't trying to control me or coerce me, but at the same breath, he said he loved my body, and if I am not taking his opinions into consideration, then he knows that I don't care about his opinion. He would not look at me the same way or touch me. I said that I didn't want to be married to someone who doesn't want to touch me, and he said that then we won't be married. But remember that I love you and you are breaking up with a man who loves you because of superficial changes I want to do to my body. He would stay for the recovery, then he moves out after Christmas. I said I was going ahead with my surgery and he just shook his head. He cried later in the garden. I can't believe him. He sounds final, like he has been thinking about divorce for a while. I have been waiting for this surgery for 2.5 years because of how busy this doctor is. And my preliminary surgery day is in November. I have consultation soon. I am going ahead with my plans and he can go with his. According to him, if I am free to choose what I do with my body, he is free to leave when it doesn't suit him anymore. Pieces. Many are asking about the surgery, and it is breast reduction. And no, I am not doing it for medical reasons since I have no back or head pains. I am not that big to have these problems. It is purely cosmetic. This is the most important part of my beef with him. I know you mean well bringing up health benefits, but this is about my rights to control how I look. He would 100% have supported me if it was for medical reasons because he has in the past. Thanks. Comments. Commenter 1. My guess is this is just one of many items between you two. Commenter 2. I mean, he is right. You are able to choose whether or not you want the surgery. He is able to choose whether he wants to be with you afterwards or not. Very superficial reason to end a marriage in my opinion, but if that's the choice, that's the choice. Sounds like there is more context missing somewhere here in this story though. This marriage sounds like much more resentfulness built up than just on boobs. Commenter 3. As someone who has had double D almost bigger for my whole life. It's too late for me to do breast surgery. Because I'm too old and have too many other health concerns. But having lived with large breasts for this long, you are absolutely right in being concerned that they rule how you are portrayed treated. They also make it very difficult to fit in clothes, and they do cause back issues later on. Nevertheless, you do you. It's your body, your choice. I would hope to think any healthy supportive partner would support you. Commenter 4. I think you should just contact a lawyer now. Separate now. The two of you are not going to work this out. There is no reason to continue talking about it. Stories number 3. Body shamed by massage therapist in front of my husband. On an MSC cruise, my husband and I were on our first and last MSC cruise. Many things were going wrong with this cruise, from bad food to sewage smells to incessant upselling. My husband and I booked a couple's 80-minute massage pre-cruise. When we get to the spa, we find out that entry to the spa is not included with the treatment. In my experience, that's very odd, but oh well, no big deal. We get forms to complete, which we find typical. We are expecting to be asked, what areas should we focus on, any injuries, etc. Instead, the top page was more upselling. Seriously, we booked one of the most expensive items on the spa menu. The upsell already happened. We are here getting a massage. Okay, whatever. We let that go. When completing the other page of the form, we notice they are asking questions that have nothing to do with a massage but more for skincare. I immediately realize they want to sell us the beauty items that are on sale all over the spa. My husband and I don't complete that part of the form. Okay, so now we are in the room ready for the massage to start. Little did we know that the spa is right above the theater, and there is a rehearsal happening with very loud drums. These drums played during the entire massage and was coupled with singing. It was so loud that we could hear the words in the songs. Our massage therapists were apologetic and offered to call their supervisor during the massage. I declined and thought I'd just handle it afterwards. It was so bad the massage beds were shaking. The therapist called during the massage anyway. The massage therapists did a great job, and we both enjoyed our treatments despite the noise. After the massage, while getting dressed, my husband and I are laughing because the trip is a farce at this point. Now the therapists come back in the room with water, which is standard, but they also have a bag with items. I'm thinking it's samples of their beauty items. Nope. My therapist begins with a compliment of my body to disarm me. Then she proceeds to tell me everything wrong with my body that she noticed while massaging me in front of my husband from head to toe. After telling me what she found wrong without me asking, she then recommends an item I can buy to fix said problem. I'm confident in my body and was laughing at their selling techniques to their faces because it was so absurd. I called them out right then in a playful yet real way. Then the nail in the coffin happened. I'm a black woman with freckles. She asked if my freckles were a skin blemish. She was about to offer me a cream, I thought most likely a whitening cream. Some people who are unaware that black people can have freckles often suggest I lighten my skin to handle it. It is one of the most offensive things you can suggest to a black American. When she asked about my blemishes, I stopped the conversation in its tracks, stopped laughing and said, "They are freckles, not blemishes, and you better not be offering me a lightening cream." She didn't take out the last item in the bag to show me, and she said no. I was so done and offended. I took the item out of the bag and looked at it myself. It wasn't a lightening cream, but it was for skin issues. It wasn't the therapist's fault that this is MSC's selling tactics, so I wasn't upset with them. They are following their script. I could only image how other women must feel after someone has been looking at and touching their body, turn around and say everything they think is wrong, without being asked their opinion, in front of someone else. Totally unacceptable. We got offered a free 50-minute massage as compensation. We also spoke to a MSC spokesperson about the many other issues on the cruise, and I mentioned their sales tactics during that call. I'm actually still mad. Comments. Commenter 1. I've got to know, did your husband get a list of flaws with his body? Or was it simply a woman-shaming exercise? Reply. Only women shaming. He got absolutely nothing. I got a bag full of suggestions. Commenter 2. Wow. I have had lots of massages at private spas, and only one asked if I was concerned about a growth on my back. I had it already checked for skin cancer, and it wasn't. Never had one on a cruise, and now I won't in future. Thank you for the warning. I have done a lot of cruises, mostly seaborne, princess, etc., but never been sold on anything in that way. That is just awful. Reply. The massage therapists were very good and did a great job. It was their sales tactics and loud drumming that was unacceptable. Commenter 3. All the rudeness aside, which is an absurd strategy to use on someone, what sort of architect puts a spa directly above a theater? That is wild in and of itself. Reply. Seriously. We realized once the massage started. Ooh. It makes no sense. Also, we told them after the massage, if you had just told us that during this time there could be loud, never-ending drumming, then we would have tried a different time. Commenter 4. As someone who worked on a ship in a spa, they are pretty much all run by Steiner. The staff gets paid gratuity, a small percentage of the cost of the treatment, and sales commission. Some managers will only book up people who sell the most before they look at anyone else's schedule. This is because if they don't hit their sales goals, they get paid almost nothing. It's ridiculous and I never liked doing it. I made it through my contract and that was it. Reply. The therapist told us they don't get all of the tip, that was included, so we went back to our rooms to tip them extra in cash. Oit. I've done other types of service work, waitress and retail. My husband has as well. We tip stories number 4. My husband thinks he can keep my daughter and her BF apart. Edit. I incorrectly stated he was kicked out. He wasn't. He voluntarily left home because his parents were controlling and verbally abusive. Update. My daughter is on birth control. Also, what I meant by, my husband thinks I should tell our daughter, wasn't to say he isn't willing, or able to talk to her himself. It was more like in one of the conversations I have with our daughter, I could be more direct and make comments like my husband's feelings on the matter. I'm so frustrated. Our daughter is 18, and is dating a guy who is basically a loser. Parents kicked him out. He became homeless, lost his job, and I stepped in to help him and provided every resource. He followed none of them. 0 ambition, 0 drive. Every excuse under the sun, gives no eye contact, emotionally immature, and doesn't engage. Now our daughter drives him around 'cause he has no car, and views every minor effort like he applied for a job, as earth-shattering amazing, no matter it's too far for him to get to. My perspective is that our daughter has a good head on her shoulders, will outgrow this guy, see that they're falling behind their peers, and eventually kick him to the curb once she sees clearly what type of guy he is. My husband is 100% against this kid, sees no redeeming qualities, and it infuriates him that our daughter has to drive them to dates, drive him to job interviews, pay for their stuff, and firmly believes this guy is going to drag our daughter backwards. What I'm so upset about is he thinks that I should tell our daughter blatantly what a loser this guy is, state facts about his lack of ambition and bad life choices, and basically tell her that she won't be allowed to be with him if he doesn't get his shit together in a year. And I'm over here like, first of all, they're 18. Second of all, plenty of girls date losers as their first and outgrow them and move on. It's called a learning experience, and we can guide her as she navigates this relationship. And third, in this day and age you can't keep people apart. They're in love, both adults, and keeping them apart would emotionally destroy our daughter, and then we would guarantee her being dragged down in school and job performance. But my husband doesn't believe in 18 being an adult, and says that as long as she's living under our roof, and we're paying for her car payment and insurance, and letting her live here and save money, that yes, he can make sure they don't see each other if the kid doesn't get it together. TLDR. Husband says that if daughter's BF doesn't get his shit together, he'll keep our daughter and the BF apart, because the BF is dragging our daughter down. Comments. Commenter 1. I don't think you should tell her to stay away from him, but I do think you should be honest about what you see in him. I dated a guy like that at 19 for way too long 'cause I loved him. If my mom had told me what she really thought, I would have left a lot sooner. Trust that the lesson was learned way before I left. Sometimes we stay too long because we see the good that's not there. Rose-colored glasses can cause a lot of preventable damage. Commenter 2. In my opinion, I would stay neutral about the boyfriend in front of the daughter. But 100% absolutely no excuses. She would have an untamperable, by him, birth control like an IUD. Nothing ruins a teen girl's life more than getting knocked up by a loser who will inevitably dump her and try to get out of child support. ETA. Thanks for the awards, friends. Commenter 3. You're forgetting the part where she will distance herself from your husband or worse, the both of you. You should consider talking to your daughter about her expectations and when to identify a breaking point. It's tough because she's in love, but she needs some perspective. Your husband is going full throttle instead of speaking to your daughter as an adult. The controlling behavior will or already has caused resentment. Commenter 4. 25. Years ago, my freshman college roommate in the dorms was a girl whose parents forced her to apply to that college, even though it didn't offer her major, all to try and separate her from her boyfriend. I spent 9 months dealing with a miserable, moody, 18 to 19-year-old who drove 3 hours one way every weekend to see her boyfriend at his college, which incidentally did offer her major. It got even worse after the Thanksgiving break, when they got engaged. I'm talking 3-5 hours on the phone every night. During spring break, she hydroplaned her car on I-35 and damn near killed herself. What was she most upset about? That she had to spend the entire time at her parents' house and never got to see him. She transferred schools after the year was over and moved in with him. They broke up after 4 months living together. Stories number 5. Aita. For standing up for and praising my father-in-law's cooking against my wife and her mom and sisters. So a couple of months ago, my wife's dad woke up and decided he wanted to be a chef. Not like work at a restaurant or something. He's a pretty goddamn successful lawyer. But he decided that he wants to start cooking in the house. Dude only knew how to fry eggs and BBQs, and that's it. Although he does the best BBQs I've ever had, I'll give him that. But he started really badly. One time I got food poisoning from his food for 2 days, but we still encouraged him to pursue his dreams and passion. And he's actually improved so much, and can actually cook pretty good food now, and I'm proud of him, and I'm happy for him because he seems so happy. Last night he invited us and all the family over for dinner, and we went. He tried out a new recipe for the first time, and honestly it was bad, but at least he tried. My wife and everyone else was on his ass telling him he sucks as a chef, and he should just stop. They were saying it like a joke, but he looked really sad and hurt. And I stepped up for him and backed him up and said he's a good cook. They then got on my ass calling me an ass kisser and whatnot, and they just laughed. After the dinner he pulled me aside and thanked me and asked if I really think that, and I said yay. He should follow his passion and that everyone misses up a couple of times, even Gordon Ramsay. And it's not a huge deal. After we got home my wife called me dramatic for making a scene. Was I though? Comments. Commenter 1. NTA. Everyone makes mistakes, and if your FIL wants to cook, he's learning. I've made a meal or two that was inedible. Practice. And persistence pay off, everyone. Else complaining isn't appreciating the good meals he's made. Commenter 2. I'm 63 and from the South, and I try to cook some things are good. But I realize that I can't make Chinese food, so I won't say nuttin' LOL. Commenter 3. NTA. I love to cook and am told by a lot of people that I am a good cook. I try new recipes and have occasional flops. It's part of learning. I tried beer can chicken the first time my sister brought her boyfriend, now husband, to my house for dinner. It was a memorable meal and not for good reasons. There were flames shooting from the grill and it produced a chicken, burnt on the outside and raw on the inside. I had to ask my sister and husband to stop and pick up some fried chicken on their way to my house. We still laugh about it today. Stories number 6. AITJ for not letting a stranger get married in my backyard. I have been living in my house for about 15 years. Got it after a family lost it to foreclosure, which is admittedly really sad, but also it is what it is. A few weeks ago, a young woman came to door and explained that she grew up in my house and had always dreamed of getting married in the backyard where she used to play with her childhood sweetheart who she's now marrying. She wanted to know if I would oblige her request and let her have her wedding reception there. She offered to pay for anything related. I politely declined. I don't really want a bunch of people in my yard, and I have actually done a bunch of renovations to add a berry patch, deck, outdoor kitchen area, rose and hydrangea bushes, and a few other things I just don't want messed up by the would-be attendees. She became pretty irate and tried to argue with me, then started crying, and it just all seemed sort of histrionic to me personally. I asked to leave and she did, and I never heard from her again. But then today my neighbor, who has always been very nice to me, called me a nasty person. and that he heard from the family I wasn't going to let the woman marry in my yard. Am I a jerk? This seems like an odd request, and I am a bit overwhelmed. That I may earn a bad reputation in my neighborhood if it spreads around. Edit. Thank you all for your insights. I've been reading through and appreciate the support. I also appreciate the romantics who think I'm wrong. You're better than me, but alas, I think I am just going to have to be the jerk today. Hopefully my reputation isn't all the way tanked. Comments. Commenter 1, NTA. It's your property. Plus, what about insurance? You have to have special insurance to cover something like that. Too much to ask a stranger to do simply because you bought a house. Reply. I didn't even think of that. But it's very true. Commenter 2. Just let the neighbors know he's welcome to host them in their yard. NTJ Commenter 3. Nah, mate. NTA. It's your pad. End of story. Would been nice, sure, but it's not like she had her wedding booked in your yard and you canceled last min. She gotta respect boundaries, dude, and it sounds entitled if she'd kick off like that. Hope things chill out in your neighborhood. No one wants drama. Commenter 4. NTJ, not at all. The liability alone would be unreasonable, not to mention if they decided to have alcohol. Nope. No way. Where would they expect to pee? BTW. Be careful and watch your home. If she is entitled enough to ask that and behave like she did, she may just decide to do it anyway. That would be a police call. Stories number 7. Me 24F with my stepmom. 44F of 14 years. Out of nowhere she says she won't help me plan my wedding because she doesn't want to deal with my mom 45F. My mom and SM are very, very different people. My mom is one of those people who wears their emotions on their sleeves. She cries and laughs a lot. If she is angry, you know it. She is very expressive. She also had a really hard life. She had me when she was 19, and my biological dad abandoned her. She met my dad and they were together for 10 years, and she had my sister with him. Because she has babies so young, she had to raise us and didn't get a chance to go to college. She met my stepdad right after she left my dad, and they have been together ever since. Because she isn't educated, she's never been able to get a good job and works funny hours at a thrift store. So, she has a funny schedule and never really has money. She'd give me money for the wedding, but she doesn't hardly have enough for her own bills. My stepdad is her soulmate, but he needs lots of attention, and it has always been a conflict for her. She would cry a lot because she wanted to spend more time with us as kids, but couldn't because stepdad only had certain times off, and she needed to make sure that he had the attention he needed too. I mean, she didn't even have time to cook us dinner at night. She'd take us out to eat instead. So there is no way she would have had the extra time to do some of the stuff my SM did. I know she tried really hard at being a mom and did her best, but life was just harder for her than it was for my SM. My SM came into my life when I was 10, and we have always gotten along well. She is basically the opposite of my mom. I don't think I have ever seen her cry more than 1 or 2 tears. She has never raised her voice and yelled at us. Growing up, she was always the one that we went to when we needed things done. She is the one who would sign us up for all the things we wanted to do, and help with our homework, throw our birthday parties, call the doctors. She went to college before my stepbrother was born, and so was given a good job as a project manager and always had money. My dad started his own business too when he married my SM, so they had way more money than my mom. They also owned their own house and so didn't have to pay rent like my mom did. But the courts didn't give my mom any child support at all to help. Anyway, my SM did more of the traditional mom stuff, like cooking dinner and making Halloween costumes, but she was always a little cold. She rarely said, "I love you." My real mom was the emotional support, but life was hard for her, so she couldn't do the traditional mom stuff the same as my SM even though she wanted to. I love both my mom and stepmom, and am happy they are both in my life. They both helped me to grow up in their own ways. Anyway, my SO and I are getting married in less than 7 months, and I am planning my wedding. A couple of times, I sent my SM some things asking for help, and each time she shrugged it off saying, "You should ask your mom." The last time texted her to ask what she thought the best flower shop in the town we are going to get married is, and if she thinks that lilies would be good in the bridal bouquet. She never responded, which is really unlike her, so I stopped by her house on my way home from work and asked her again. This time she told me that I should plan my wedding with my mom. I pressed her on why she wouldn't help, and she said that she had promised herself a long time ago that once US kids were out of the house, she would never have to deal with my mom again. And that she will be happy to financially contribute with my wedding, but would rather not get in any situation where she is going to have to deal with my mother. I never knew she even didn't like my mom. She never said anything growing up. If anything, she always was supportive of my relationship with my mom. When I had problems with her as a teen, she would always tell me that, "Your mother loves you." Or would say, "I don't know your mom, I can't tell you why she does what she does." But I know she loves you. I asked her why she doesn't like my mom, but she wouldn't answer. She said that her relationship with my mother should in no way affect my relationship with my mom, and there is no need to spread past drama. But that she has set a boundary and hopes I can respect that. I was so confused. I asked my mom about it to see if she could tell me why my SM might have said that. My mom got so upset and started crying and getting angry. She was saying that my SM is trying to ruin my wedding because she has always tried to control our lives just because she wanted power. She said there was a reason that SM had thrown our birthday parties even though she had wanted to. I asked my mom to tell me what she was talking about, but she said it wasn't my concern. She then tried looking up my SM on Facebook to write her a letter, but SM had blocked her. SM had blocked her everywhere. It's been 4 days and my mom is still so mad. I am a little concerned that my mom is going to use my wedding to talk to my SM about it. I don't really want the drama. I asked my SM to contact my mom to help calm her down, but my SM just started laughing. I'm so frustrated. I don't want this sort of drama. I don't know why now, after 14 years, my SM has to start acting this way. I don't understand why she won't just talk to my mom or open up the channels. My mom is just an emotional person. She really does try her best as a mom, though. 2. I really could use some help with planning my wedding. My mom would help, but, like I said, she doesn't really have time. My SM is way better at planning things and keeping organized. It's not like my SM would have to talk to my mom to help me plan it. It makes me feel like she doesn't actually care about me, that she would just cut me off. I really want to know what happened between my SM and mom. I know they say it isn't my business, but it sure feels like it is my business, and their actions are affecting me. 4. How do I keep this from blowing up at my wedding? I almost feel like telling my SM that she shouldn't come if she won't help me calm down my mom first. I don't want my wedding day ruined by my mom being so hurt. But I also really need the financial support that my SM and dad are giving me, and don't want to jeopardize that. What should I do? Tell Docker. My SM refused to help me plan my wedding because she doesn't want to have to interact with my mom. My mom is really upset, and I am afraid it will affect my wedding. My SM and mom won't tell me why there might be bad blood. I don't know how to handle the situation. Any advice would be appreciated. Relevant comments. Commenter. 1. Your perspective here is really skewed. Your SM doesn't want to deal with your highly emotional and volatile mother, so you ask her to. Deal with your highly emotional and volatile mother on your behalf? Reply, yeah. When you put it that way, it doesn't sound very smart at all. Commenter 2. My mom got so upset and started crying and getting angry. She was saying that, my SM is trying to ruin my wedding because she has always tried to control our lives just because she wanted power. If that's a typical response from your mom, it tells you everything you need to know. From what you wrote, your stepmom never tried to badmouth your mom or get in the way of your relationship, which shows maturity. Your mother is demonstrating immaturity with that statement. There probably isn't one incident, just a general behavior from your mom that your stepmom understandably doesn't want to deal with. Reply, it's a pretty extreme response even from my mom. My SM used to say, some people are just more emotional than others. So I never thought it bothered her before. I thought she just understood my mom was that way. Commenter 3. She was protecting you. Now she's being honest. Update. I had posted originally when I was very frustrated about my stepmom saying she wouldn't help me with my wedding because of my mother. I was rightfully ripped into by quite a few people. I just reread what I had written. So much cringe. I did what many suggested and told my SM that I respected her boundaries, and thanked her for always having supported me in my life. She seemed really touched. We had a good conversation and she admitted that she would like to help, but as had guessed, she was sure that if my mom heard that she had helped with something that my mom would become critical of it, and it would put me in an awkward spot. I told my mother that she needed to calm down, and that even if SM didn't like her, they were adults, and this is my day, and I could really use some help making it special. Much to my surprise, she said she would love to help, and had been waiting to plan a wedding her whole life. A little backstory: my mom and dad had married in a courthouse, with no ceremony. My mom and stepdad aren't actually married, he's just been around for so long we just call him stepdad. Well guys, turns out my mom is crazy. It started with her canceling the venue we had reserved. We wanted an outdoor wedding in a beautiful park near us, and trying to book a destination wedding in Hawaii. WTF? Luckily, the refunded deposit didn't at all cover her desired location deposit, so she came and asked me to cover the rest. That was a huge blow-up, but we got it sorted out. She had claimed that she wanted to surprise me with a dream wedding, and that I deserved the best. I told her that an outdoor wedding with all of my friends that fit in my budget was my dream wedding. I still believed, at this point, she had been doing it to be kind. Boy, am I a sucker. Things slinked into Twilight Zone after that. She kept saying it was our wedding, as in mine and her wedding. I wanted a cupcake bar. She tried to change the order to a cake. She picked up the wrong supplies for our centerpieces. She would argue with all the vendors. Every time she did something, we had a massive fight ending with her crying and hysterical saying I shouldn't be getting a wedding before she got her wedding. That my dad owed her a wedding. She'd apologize profusely the next day and say she knows she was acting crazy, but that the wedding planning was just bringing up a lot of unresolved issues for her. She said she was going to counseling and getting her depression medication adjusted. I would feel bad and forgive her. The whole cycle would start again. After months of this, I thought we had finally reached an understanding that she could have a wedding. But she couldn't have my wedding. I was wrong. She bought a white sequined floor-length dress with a pillbox hat with veil to wear the ceremony. When she sent me the picture, I honestly just went numb. I know I had told her that I would respect her wishes, but I didn't know who else to talk to, so I brought the picture over to my dad and SM's house. I showed it to SM and then started bawling my eyes out. At first I thought my SM was crying with me. She wasn't. She was laughing so hard she could hardly breathe. She called my dad in, and he started laughing so hard that he couldn't stand up straight anymore. Long story short, both my SM and dad ended up helping me manage my mom during the wedding. They taught me how to put her on an information diet and require passwords at vendors. My dad ripped into her about it being her wedding. My SM had the great idea of telling Mom that the white would match SM's dress and be good because it's popular for brides to now wear a dress in the wedding colors. My colors were teal and gold. Ooh. My mom showed up in a teal dress, as did SM. Lol. My dad and SM ran interference for me with my mom all day on my wedding day. They said they were old pros at it, and it was their wedding present to me. It turned out to be a beautiful day, and I didn't hear about any of the drama until after the day. All in all, it was an eye-opening experience. I always knew my mom was emotional. I just hadn't realized how much she also manipulates things. I became a lot closer to my dad and SM, and am actually pretty low contact with my mother now. It has made me really reevaluate my childhood, and I feel like I have grown a lot. Thank you, Reddit, for being the first to start opening my eyes. TLDR. You were right. Wedding planning showed my mom is crazy. Totally understand why SM didn't want anything to do with her. Final comments. Commenter. 1. My SM had the great idea of telling Mom that the white would match SM's dress and be good because it's popular for brides to now wear a dress in the wedding colors. Holy cow. Genius. Apparently this is not your SM's first rodeo. Reply, I really didn't think it would work. The funniest thing was them both ending up in almost identical dresses. I guess my mom had a minor meltdown over it, but I didn't see it. Commenter 2. Come on, you can't drop that kind of bait without giving us more details. Reply, I guess she had found stepdad after seeing SM and demanded that he take her shopping right now. But stepdad was like, "The ceremony is going to start. We aren't leaving now." Yee. She stormed off and found a friend who she tried to trade dresses with. But the friend thought she was being silly and said it was really cute how both of OP's moms are wearing matching outfits. My SM found out she was crying in the bathroom, so she went in there with one of my bridesmaids and said loudly enough for my mom to hear, "I wish I had worn a different dress. It's so similar to OP's mom, and everyone keeps telling me how much better she looks in it than I do." She really does wear it better. I guess that was enough to calm my mom down because she came out of the bathroom and was smiling and showing off her dress after that. Commenter 3. As kids we look up to our parents a whole lot, but part of becoming an adult is learning that they're human too. It's usually a harsh lesson. Reply, I believed everything my mom told me growing up. Why would she lie to me? And my dad and SM kept quiet about drama, so I only ever heard one side of the story. I feel badly that it took me so long to see through it. I started going to counseling, which has helped tremendously to start unraveling all of the lies. It's been painful but so liberating too. All of these things that didn't ever sit right with me, I now can see it, is because I knew something was off but I didn't know what. Commenter 4. Your SM kept things quiet because she didn't want you to think she was intentionally alienating you from your mother. You had to come to the realization yourself, otherwise you would have resented your SM. And it would have been even easier for your mom to manipulate you against her. Must have been incredibly tough for both your SM and dad. Reply, my dad and SM said they had hoped that maybe she would be more sane to us kids than she was to them. They haven't told me a lot because they say that their relationship with her shouldn't change my relationship with her. But they did clear up some things. My mom always said that dad stole everything from her in the divorce, but he had come into the marriage with the house, cars, investments. They had signed a prenup with an infidelity clause, and my mom had cheated on my dad, leaving him for my stepdad. My dad had still paid her out quite a bit of money to help get her on her feet, but she didn't get a job and blew it on a huge vacation and new car that she crashed driving drunk. The fines ate up the last of the money. I remember her telling me that her car broke down and dad had towed it away, saying he was going to fix it, but never did. I remember being mad that my dad wouldn't help my mom out when he was really good with cars. I don't know all the stories, but I question a lot of the "I was mad at dad" memories. It's so weird to look back on your life and not even know what you don't know. I am questioning everything. I wish dad and SM would tell me more, but I understand that they want me to come to my own relationship with my mom too. She is crazy, but she wasn't completely terrible all the time. The hardest thing has been with my little sister, who has always been one of my best friends. Eddie, even though she has seen what my mom did with my wedding, she also had my mom crying to her the whole time. There were many times where my sister would call me and tell me that I was being unreasonable with mom. It has put a bit of a wedge between us, and I am not sure how to handle it. Stories number 8. Aita for refusing to listen to my husband about my breasts. Aita for refusing to listen to my husband. I want to have a breast reduction surgery. I will not be asking him to spend any money on me. We both work and we put aside equal amount of money for private accounts, for private savings and spendings. So please do not make it about money. I have been talking about this surgery since I turned 40, but I have dreamed about it since I was 15. Whenever I spoke about it, he would sit silent and listen. Supported me, I thought. Then he asked if I wanted him to go to my first consultation, and I was very happy. Consultations are usually private here, but he wanted to tag along for the first part of the consultation. When I talked to the doctor, who is an internationally respected doctor, my husband sat silent at first. Then he asked when the psychological evaluation would happen. The doctor was puzzled and explained that I am an adult. My husband got irritated and almost yelled, "So you would not mind operating on people with body dysmorphia?" The doctor and nurse were shocked, and I was livid. When we got home, I was destroyed. I am scared I have lost my opportunity with the best surgeon in the country, and probably one of the best in the world. My husband insisted I needed therapy, and that he will not allow me to have the surgery because I look perfect. I asked him what he meant, not allowing me. I was very angry and crying. He said, "Well, I will do anything. Tell your family you are mentally unstable, and I will leave you." Thankfully, I made a new appointment and the doctor was too kind. I have my new appointment on Wednesday. My husband is livid and said he will never look at or touch me again. Edit. Please, if you ask about my account. I am a Redditor, but this subject I want to discuss in private, and not in my usual subs. So this is not a bot edit again. Our ages are me 42 and he 40. If this is important, comments, commenter. 1. You might lose an extra couple £100 in emotional baggage, along with the extra breast tissue, and I could consider that to be a good thing. Men truly don't understand what it's like to have large breasts. Commenter 2. This your body, your choice. He's allowed to be bothered by it. He does like you and your body the way you are. He's allowed to leave if he can't handle it. But you don't have to tolerate him being a dick about it. Wanting a reduction isn't mental illness. I'd wager you've got a larger than average bust, even by American standards, and that comes with back pain, expensive and hard to find, bras that wear out far too quickly, ill-fitting clothing, boob sweat, social stigma or fetishization, and who the hell knows what else. I'm a dude and, much as I might want, not an expert on boobs. He's way off base about that, and threatening to lie to the people around you is completely uncool. Kick him out until he gets his shit together. Or else. Commenter 3.0. OP, you should get him a super heavy fake chest and see how he likes going to work with an extra 20 pounds on his chest. Ask him how his back feels after a few days. See how well he can sleep after a week. Commenter 4. If your whole marriage is contingent on the size of your breasts, he's got to go. Personally, after he said that, I would have shown him the door. At 40-some years old, he can go and try to find the perfect body he wants. Good luck, buddy. Unless he's got real money, he's gonna be very lonely and deserves to be. He's a real piece of work. Commenter 5. Exactly. Boobs change. And sag, hell, I'm almost 40 and mine have gone lopsided and succumbing to gravity. Any day. And, God forbid, if OP gets cancer and needs a mastectomy. Commenter 6. Your husband is abusive, threatening to tell people you are mentally unwell if you decide to do something you want to. I'd have ended the relationship after he sabotaged the consultation by trying to make the doctor believe you didn't have capacity. What a cruel person he is. I hope you are okay, as he really isn't a decent person. Update. So yesterday I was here complaining about my husband, and my gut feelings were right after seeing the reactions here, that my husband is crossing the boundary by trying to control how my body looks. So this morning I told him this. He just sat silently and listened to me. Then he said that he wasn't trying to control me or coerce me, but at the same breath he said he loved my body, and if I am not taking his opinions into consideration, then he knows that I don't care about his opinion. He would not look at me the same way or touch me. I said that I didn't want to be married to someone who doesn't want to touch me, and he said that then we won't be married. But remember that I love you and you are breaking up with a man who loves you because of superficial changes I want to do to my body. He would stay for the recovery, then he moves out after Christmas. I said I was going ahead with my surgery and he just shook his head. He cried later in the garden. I can't believe him. He sounds final, like he has been thinking about divorce for a while. I have been waiting for this surgery for 2005 years because of how busy this doctor is. And my preliminary surgery day is in November. I have consultation soon. I am going ahead with my plans and he can go with his. According to him, if I am free to choose what I do with my body, he is free to leave when it doesn't suit him anymore. Peace. Many are asking about the surgery, and it is breast reduction. And no, I am not doing it for medical reasons, since I have no back or head pains. I am not that big to have these problems. It is purely cosmetic. This is the most important part of my beef with him. I know you mean well, bringing up health benefits, but this is about my rights to control how I look. He would 100% have supported me if it was for medical reasons, because he has in the past. Thanks. Comments. Commenter 1. My guess is this is just one of many items between you two. Commenter 2. Yeah, this post is not complete due to missing relevant info. Shy. Gotta be more going on than breast reduction. Commenter 3. If he really loved you, the size of your tits would not be the determining factor of whether he stays with you. If he chooses to leave because he can only be with a woman who has breasts over a certain size, He's a sleazeball who never deserved you. Crazy he's trying to blame his choices and misogyny on you. Commenter 4. I mean, yeah, he is 100% free to leave. Like you're free to do your surgery. That's just how life is. Commenter 5. The issue is more that he's giving her this inappropriate ultimatum and then making it out to be that she is choosing her reduction over him. He should have never forced the choice. Stories number 9. AIO for refusing sex with my husband because he had refused to let his ex-girlfriend see me as his wife because of my appearance. I, 31F, was thin when I first met my husband, 29 min. But I'm over 200 pounds now since I had our baby. My husband has told me that to him, I look sexier now than before. He had always told me how gorgeous he thinks I am. Even then I was thin. A lot of people thought my husband was way out of my league. My husband has always told me he loves me, I'm gorgeous, and that he's proud to call me his lady. Almost a week ago, I met up with my husband at a restaurant after I had a long active day. He was particularly handsome in his suit. I was sweaty, stinky, and my clothes didn't look good. I know what his high school sweetheart, 29F, looked like, and I saw her in the restaurant. She still looks like she could be a supermodel. My husband was holding my hand. He started walking another direction and he pulled me with him. He told me that we should go somewhere else. To me, it was obvious he didn't want her to see him with me. At home, I asked him why did he do that. He told me that he knows he's being shallow and immature. At that point, I felt like I knew his reasons. He said he loves me and that I'm perfect the way I am. He said society is stupid and shallow. I told him to just tell me. He said he didn't want her to see me because of my weight and overall appearance. He said maybe if was put together he wouldn't be so scared to introduce us. He kept apologizing and I kept telling him I understand. But since then, we haven't had sex. He keeps trying but I keep refusing. I've been making an extra effort to look and smell put together, but he said he prefers how I was before. He said that I'm truly his perfect woman, and that he doesn't want me to change. He said when he saw his ex, he went back into a stupid high school mentally. He was very honest and he told me if we had went to high school, he would have thought I was super pretty, but he wouldn't tell me to my face. He said he was a stupid kid who followed peer pressure. Despite everything he said this week, I still ugly and gross since he didn't want his ex to know I am his wife. Am I overreacting? Comments. Commenter 1. You're not overreacting. My wife has proudly shown me off when I was sick as dog, hair a mess, eye bloodshot from sneezing nose off, constantly having to blow my dripping nose sick as a dog. Oi! You are two grown-ass adults. If he is plagued by a high school mentality, it sounds like that is where he peaked. I know for me, not proudly showing me off, especially to an ex, would send up so many warning signals. And his words mean nothing. No. He can say he loves you as is no matter if you are dolled up or dressed comfortably, but his actions show that is not true. He sounds like a shallow man-child. Reply. I've been in that state before, and he was proud of me then. But it seems like his ex has a special hold over him. Reply commenter 1. I'm going to have to disagree with most here. If you still react to any weird high school feelings, you still have a lot of maturing to do. I've been happily married for 10 years now. Not once has she ever hid me, nor her, from exes. Feel what you want. Those are natural. It's how you react to the feelings that show growth and maturity. And he showed a major lack of maturity by acting on his insecure feelings. He needs to work on himself. And to everyone else, if you are still reacting to the same feelings you got in high school, I say this with all the love an internet stranger can. Seek guidance. That can be a therapist or a trusted friend or family member. You should know how to control your actions. Saying it's normal to have those feelings could be applied to infidelity. He felt attracted to someone, so he acted on them. 1. No. Same principle. He felt insecure and he acted on it. That's a problem. Reply. This might just know me trying to rationalize his actions so I can convince myself that the worst-case scenarios aren't true. When he was 19, he dated a woman, but they broke up because he hid her from his family because she was overweight. For different reasons, he has said he used to be a massive people-pleaser and pushover. That is still bad and pathetic if he was hiding me because he's still a people-pleaser and vulnerable to peer pressure. That's still something that he should go to therapy for. But I hope that's just it. He loves me but still has some maturing to do. Commenter 2. Nor. I met my husband when I was in my 20s. Now, I've birthed 3 children. Stretch marks, surgery scars, gravity, weight redistribution, and gain. I no longer look like I did in my 20s. And you know what? My husband, who for the record is 6'4", looks like Geralt from The Witcher and gets hit on a lot, tells everyone how much he loves me, how he can't imagine his life without me, how it's better now than when we got together. I'm so sorry, reply. This was so out of character for my husband because he is usually proud of me. Commenter 3. Nor. You were hurt by that and there's nothing wrong with that. A couple things I want to say. You just had a baby. I'm not sure why he felt that way. My wife went from 120 laxlubs to like 175 lubs during and after the pregnancy. She went from small to a big woman. Lamau. But that's my big woman. We joke like that. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. And if they say anything about my pregnant or after she has the baby, they will get cursed the fuck out. No hesitation. No debating. No feeling sorry for that person's feelings. You don't play about a man's wife. She's lost all the weight now. But at no time did I ever feel ashamed of being around her. I am surprised by his honesty in all of this. Which is good in a way but also shows how much of a coward he is. How can you care what an ex-girlfriend thinks over your wife? I'm going to tell you something you might not want to hear. Your husband probably wants you at a bigger weight, because less men will try to talk to you. He's a liar. You can't say one thing and then do another. He says you're beautiful and perfect but is ashamed and wants to hide you. He's not over his ex-girlfriend either. He didn't need to introduce you two either. He could have ignored her and you two could have enjoyed a meal together. He's worried about what she thinks. I'm going to say I'm assuming this, but my guess is he follows her on social media or something, to care that deeply about her opinion. Maybe he's seen who she's with now. Either way, he's a coward. Don't give him any pussy. Let the coward jerk off until his arm is sore. Commenter 4. Nor. That was a very insecure and borderline cruel decision he made, and now he knows he fucked up, but doesn't understand how deeply it affected you. I don't think this is necessarily divorce-worthy, yet, but he definitely has some insecurities he needs to work on, and this rift will be hard to repair. Definitely do couples therapy to help repair the trust and improve communication, and maybe a few sessions of individual for you two, especially your husband if he's that insecure. Won't if he is vehemently against this when you suggest it, then yeah, I'd start to consider at least a separation ETA. Although, if you looked sloppy at a nice restaurant, I could definitely understand why he would get insecure. You didn't mention if it was a nice restaurant, but if it was, I would have also tried to go to another place if my fiancé showed up sweaty and unkempt at a fancy restaurant. The only reason I say anything about the insecurity is because he mentioned your weight when explaining why. Stories? Number 10. Dad is listening to his daughter say her prayers before bedtime. God bless Mommy, and God bless Daddy, and God bless Grandma, and goodbye, Grandpa. He asks her, why did you say that? I don't know, I just felt like saying it. The next day, Grandpa drops dead. Wow, thinks Dad, that's an odd coincidence. A month later at bedtime, the daughter says, God bless Mommy and Daddy, and goodbye, Grandma. Sure enough, the next day, Grandma breathes her last earthly breath. The dad realizes this is more than a coincidence, but he is not sure what to do. He doesn't want to disturb his wife by telling her Grandma and Grandpa were her parents. Months go by and one night the man is listening to his daughter saying her prayers at bedtime. God bless Mommy. She turns her head and looks straight at him, and goodbye, Daddy. What? Are you sure, honey? She nods. The man's heart begins racing and he breaks out in a sweat. He is so upset. He can't sleep at all that night. The next day he goes off to work, but locks himself in his office. He takes the phone off the hook, cancels all his meetings and awaits the inevitable. He stays at work past 5 because he feels secure there. He watches the hours tick by. Finally it is midnight, and drenched in sweat, he realizes he has cheated death. He drives home drenched in sweat and with all his nerves frazzled. His wife is up and waiting for him. "Where the hell were you today?" He replies, "Don't shout, I've had an absolutely miserable day." His wife then says, "You had a miserable day? I'm the one who had a miserable day." First, the milkman drops dead on the steps. Comments. Commenter. 1. At least the milkman reference gives an appropriate nod to the age of this joke. Commenter. 2. I wonder if this joke will continue to be told past the point anyone knows what a milkman was, and there will be scholars debating its meaning. Commenter 3. Amazon delivery guy. Joke must be modernized to either the Amazon delivery guy or the Instacart, Grubhub, DoorDash, or Uber Eats guy. Commenter 4. When is the last time a man actually delivered milk to a home in the U.S.? Got to be 50, 60 years. Stories number 11. My 24 parents 50, 57 don't want me to move out because I'm not done cooking, but I want out. Hello, relationships. I apologize in advance for the length. Sorry if this is a long ramble. I don't know how to put this in a narrative. So I have generalized anxiety disorder which disrupted a lot of my life, and naturally my parents are extremely protective of me. I would get panic attacks, go through extremely bad relationships, and worry over nonsensical things. They've told me all my life to not worry about getting a job and to just let them pay for things. I would feel pretty guilty about this, especially since my parents were always giving money to my bio dad to take care of my severely autistic father, and to my older sister who has a kid and has terrible money issues of her own from her own screw-ups. She crashes cars, got fired from work all the time, and more. So every chance I got, I would try to get a job. But my parents would always talk me out of it, saying I'm not worried, and that they would take care of it. I was in high school, so I didn't have much free time anyway. This was fine as a teenager, but now I'm 23. I'm constantly driving between campuses and my internship, while also living an active social life and participating in the speech chalk debate team, which gives me a grant that covers half the tuition. I make straight A's, despite any trouble I run into, and just today found out that since I turned 24 in September, I qualify for a Pell Grant that will cover my tuition. Not to mention I am only 6 classes away from graduating with my BA. My anxiety is also 10 times better, and I feel extremely accomplished. Even my speech coaches have told me. They're so proud of how far I've come. But every summer, during my college years, I would try to find a job and my parents would make me quit. I only succeeded in keeping one job at a retail store, and they decided to push me to babysitting my brother, so much I had to quit for the family. After I quit my babysitting duties, suspiciously subsided, I'm only allowed $200 a month for food expenses and gas. And since I go to school every day back and forth in between my internship, this isn't enough to sustain myself. I tried to bargain for more. They say I need to budget. I offer to get a job. They say absolutely not. Thing is, this is my last year. My tuition is being paid for myself, and I only take 3 classes a semester now. This would be perfect. To get a job, to save up some money, and to move out and transition to true independence. I also have an amazing, loving boyfriend who wants to take the next step and have me move in with him. I'm delighted, but my parents 100% do not approve. Despite him being so polite and making so much effort to get to know them, he bought my little brother 2 expensive Transformers toys and didn't receive any thank you from them at all, much less bothered to even talk to him. I feel so discouraged. I tried hinting that I want to leave, but they keep saying weird stuff like, "You're not done cooking yet," and how I need to focus on my studies. Well, I've been focusing on my studies, and obviously they are fine. When I told my step-dad about potentially having good news about my grant money, he immediately berated me. "No, you're not moving out," even though I wasn't even going to talk about it. They put a lot of pressure on me to do impromptu milk runs in the middle of the night, to take care of my brother while they go out. They say I can come and go as I please, but demand me to text me where I am throughout the day and make extremely snide remarks on how I practically live at my boyfriend's, even though they established that it was supposed to be absolutely fine. I'm getting sick of living here. I get berated for hanging my bath towel in the incorrect towel rack, have to stop at home to do the dishes between school and my internship, even though I'm barely home enough to do the dishes anyway, and I get fussed at for not being home. But when I am at home, they don't even acknowledge my existence unless they need something. I'm so tired of them seeing all my anxieties as me not being ready, and not seeing the strides I could make on my own. But I'm still conflicted. I don't want to lose them. I just want to move out and live my life freely and develop responsibility. I feel weird that they aren't even letting me do that. I don't feel like I'm even home here anymore. TLDR. Despite me being responsible, straight A, productive student with grant money to pay for tuition, parents still won't let me out and I feel trapped. Relevant comments. Commenter. 1. Op. Maybe I'm late, but as someone who has struggled with and overcome my anxiety and panic attacks, your parents are part of why your mental health is in such a bad state. The only way to escape the downward spiral, that is the panic trap, is to regain your confidence in your ability to survive and ride out life's challenges and your own feelings. In order to do that, you don't have to be alone, but you do have to be left to your own devices. Neither your parents nor medication is going to cure you or protect you, but the ability is within yourself. To access it, your parents have to step back and let you do you. Please be strong and move out. Get in touch with a therapist specializing in anxiety disorders and CBT if you feel that you want to stop living and suffering like this. If you have any questions regarding panic attacks and the like, feel free to drop me a message. Reply, "This touched me. I've been a long-time sufferer of anxiety since I can remember, and there were times where when I wanted to cry, and my parents would barge into my room and demand what's wrong when I just wanted to be left alone. It caused me to start crying in my car so they wouldn't see or hear. My parents did give me help with my anxiety, though, and made me do therapy, and I have medication for it, and it's manageable. But I've started to notice my anxiety stems from being away from home too long, for the fear that my parents will berate me, not because that I wanted to be there. When I stay the weekend with my boyfriend, I am actually less anxious and more happy, and when I go back to my parents and then visit my boyfriend again, my boyfriend comments on how I'm weirdly defensive and anxious all over again. I feel like I can move out by the end of the year at the very latest. Although, my boyfriend has offered me to let me stay with him even without a job. I want to find a job first and contribute to the rent. I don't think I want to be dependent on anyone ever again. I'm finding a bit of difficulty because of school and my lack of work history, but I am applying every day. Commenter 2. They put a lot of pressure on me to do impromptu milk runs in the middle of the night. What the fuck do they need all that milk for in the middle of the night? They need to go the fuck to sleep instead of drinking all the fucking milk. Reply, right? My mom is obsessed with milk for some reason. If I'm coming home late from a speech chalk debate rehearsal for my talent grant, which lasts 3 whole entire fucking hours, she would ask me to bring home milk, even though it's so freaking late. It's happened more than once to the point where my close friends joke about it. Commenter 3. Just FYI. This is a thing on Just Namil. Everyone has a milk story. And a bathroom towel story. It's super weird how many consistencies there are between all these people. Edit. Wow. I never imagined my post would get this big. I am extremely grateful for the advice and constructive criticism. I do think my parents have slight narcissism issues, but ultimately in their weird way they seem to think they are doing the best by me while also taking extreme advantage of the situation. I'm applying to multiple part-time jobs and have been for a while, but the advice everyone has given out has just reaffirmed that I must do this. Once I get a job and have a decent amount of income, I am going to let my mother know that I will move, and that she can't say anything to change my mind. I know she'll be pissed, and that my stepdad will be enraged, but I suppose that's the cost of seeking happiness. I might schedule a therapist appointment in the meantime with someone who is quite familiar with how my mother can be, and seek her advice as well. Thank you everyone again, I truly appreciate the outside perspective. Update. So, a lot has happened. Let me just say I appreciate everything you guys have told me. I reread your comments, and it's amazing how many instances I ignored from my parents that was extremely wrong of them to do. Thank you so much for your advice and concerns. I felt extremely vindicated, but more than that, I finally felt not crazy, which was extremely important to me. Anyway, on to the update. So after reading all the comments, I made the decision to apply to jobs. I applied to all I could find, and actually landed a decent paying job as a front desk associate. Also, I got 2 grants from my school to pay for my entire tuition, and have some extra money. So yay! I landed the job, got my grant money, and talked to my boyfriend. We both agreed that I should move out, and he was more than willing to have me move in for $500 a month. I was thrilled, and sat down with my parents. They did not take it well. They told me I couldn't live somewhere else and stay on their insurance. They told me I was making the worst decision of my life, and threatened to take me off all insurance and to cut me off completely. As a person who has to take Prozac every day to function like a normal human being, this terrified me. They told me they let me get a job this time, even though I did it behind their backs, but that moving out against the agreement they had with me, we never had an agreement. They simply told me that I had to live with them, period. This broke my heart, and my boyfriend decided to talk with them next time with me, this time bringing a financial planning paper we both worked on to show we thought about things, and we had a budget, and talked to his parents. And they were thrilled and everything. My parents shot me down, again. The entire meeting in front of my boyfriend, my parents told me I was incapable of living on my own, that I wouldn't last out there in the real world, and that I never finished anything I sought out to do. Even though I am a straight A student. Even though I got not one, but 2 college grants. Even though I am literally a state champion in speech and debate. They guilted me and made me feel bad for wanting to move out, accusing me of abandoning the family, and told me flat out that I will fail, period. That I would not be able to accomplish anything, and that I will be miserable. I'm not even exaggerating. They legit said I wouldn't accomplish anything. I then tried to compromise, and asked them if I was to still live at home, to allow me to live a relatively free life to come and go. And if they wanted me to quit my job, give me a little bit more to live off of since I'm trying to make a life for myself out there. Nope. They said I belonged at home, period, for the sake of me being home in case they needed me. I don't mind helping out at all, but home for the sake of just being around, doing nothing? Writing this, I still feel like I'm plain out disobeying them and feeling guilty for feeling upset at how they treated me. I feel like I have to justify every sentence I say, and that in itself isn't right. I think they love me in their way. But I couldn't live with them anymore. At this moment I realized my parents would never look at me and see anything but the mistakes I've made in my life, and see me as a crutch. I was so sad I didn't have their support. But I got out. Now, I live with my boyfriend and things are good. We are still packing, but I have never felt happier. I look forward to going home now. I barely have panic attacks, and my job is going very well. I'm learning how to budget for bills, and after fighting hard I managed to get my parents to keep me on medical insurance. But I think I can make it work. Thanks again everyone for their advice. Just wanted to let you all know I took it, and I don't regret it at all. TLDR. Got out of my parents' house. They threatened to cut me out. Now I live with boyfriend and feel more at home than I've ever had. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, this is awesome. You're awesome. I can't imagine how frightening this had to be for you, but you stuck to what you wanted out of life and didn't let anyone intimidate you. That's true bravery and strength of character. Really. Seriously feel proud of you, and I've never even met you. I'm certainly no doctor and I could be way off point, but something tells me that, having moved away from your parents, you might find you eventually don't need that Prozac anymore. Reply, thank you so much. It sounds great on paper, but it was definitely a messy journey getting out. Lots of fights and lots of tug and war, but in the end, it got me here and I'm happy. Commenter 2, how is your relationship with your parents now? Are they texting, calling you and trying to get you back? I remember your original post and I couldn't be happier to read of your happiness. Big slap on the back for you, OP. Reply, my mom texts me from time to time. I have a closer relationship with her than my stepdad, who did all the threatening to kick me off and jazz. My mom just stood by and let it happen. I definitely feel like our relationship will get better, but she still demands I do things for her despite my busy schedule, that I have to firmly tell no to her. Update. Especially since my boyfriend's parents are in my life now. Since I moved out in September, my boyfriend's parents have come up and beyond to help us. They don't even wait for us to ask. They helped repair some walls. They'd buy us lunch or groceries. They got me a surprise birthday gift. They've come over more times than I can count, and they even came over and cooked us Thanksgiving dinner in our apartment. I invited my parents to come, but they ended up saying they couldn't. In fact, they haven't visited once. I visited a couple of times but not much. I haven't spoken to my stepfather since me and my boyfriend sat down with him to tell him I'm moving out. And all he did was tell me I couldn't do it, and that I'd become a failure, of I did for a good hour. He listed all the mistakes I made in my life to the point my boyfriend felt like he had to defend me. I am by no means perfect, but I just wanted to leave. My biological father has visited me several times. He's been great and supportive. My parents, mom, and stepdad have not. They've never offered to help me with anything. My mom calls sometimes, but that's it. This month she invited me several times in the middle of finals to go ornament shopping with her. I'd said I thought that would be nice, but I'm working my ass off right now, with both my job and trying to finish my final projects for school that my teammates bailed on me for, so I had to do the work of 4 people. By myself. Ugh. She said fine. She calls me Friday, says Sunday the whole family is gonna decorate the tree and eat pizza and ask me to come. Again I told her I wasn't sure I could make it. Me and my boyfriend at this point were staying up every night doing schoolwork together until 3 a.m. or sometimes 5 a.m., studying for final tests and doing projects and extra credit. I'll admit we had a rough year this year, but we managed to pull through with B's, but only because we did. Work this entire weekend. She told me my niece Chloe would be there, who is the sweetest 10-year-old ever that I helped raise, and I don't get to see her often. But I told my mom I might not be able to. I said I wanted to, but I had a lot of work. Since it's still finals week, she said okay and told her to let her know. The next day I gave her an update that I was still working, and she said, just come here for 30 minutes and we will feed you, which I thought was sweet. Still I didn't make any promises and told her me and my boyfriend are still working our asses off, because my boyfriend helped me this entire semester to stay afloat with school and kept me sane for the moving process. I wanted to stay up with him and do homework, so I did. We didn't get to sleep until 5 a.m. Today, Sunday, I wake up at 1 p.m. with a phone call from Mom. I pick it up and it was my niece Chloe saying hi to me. Then my mom picks up the phone and asks when I'm coming over. I told her I couldn't. I just woke up, I'm utterly exhausted from finals week, and I don't think I'd be good company right now. Plus I still had a presentation to record myself for. I am not good with time management. She said, okay, I got to go, and hung up. She hasn't texted me since. I feel awful. I told my boyfriend about it and he got mad at my mom and reminded me that I never promised I would go. And he's right, I told her from the start I might not be able to come. I even told her any day after Sunday would be better for me because then finals week is done. The fact Chloe was there makes me feel awful too. I keep worrying that she was sad I couldn't make it, and my parents are just telling her I'm being selfish and that I just don't want to come. But I did want to. I just was physically exhausted and tired, and still had more work to do. I know they are mad at me, but I did everything I could. I told them it wasn't a good time for me and they didn't even try to change the day. I never said yes. I shouldn't feel guilty, should I? My boyfriend is frustrated that I feel like I owe them something when they've done nothing to help me transition into my new life. Are parents even obligated to do that? Are his parents just wonderfully nice? I don't know. There wasn't much point to this message. I'm just sad and can't sleep, and holidays are hard, and I didn't know where to go. Thank you to anyone who managed to read this garbage. I just needed to talk about it, I guess. Stories number 12. Aita for wanting to go on a trip when my BF is uncomfortable with it. I, F, 27, have been with my boyfriend Richard, M, 39, for 5 years. We live together. We both work. We hardly ever argue, and we have a nice, quiet life. When I was in university, I had a group of friends, both male and female, that I used to do a lot of activities with. We would go hiking, snowboarding, and traveling together. There was nothing romantic going on. After graduation, a few of them moved away, and I met Richard, so we stopped hanging out. Recently I got an email from one of my friends from that group who is organizing a reunion. I have been invited to join them on a trip to Whistler. We will be snowboarding, dining, sightseeing, and visiting Vancouver since they are renting a car. It is a 3-day trip. Richard hates these people, so I knew he would say no if I asked him to join. I asked anyway, And as expected, he declined. I told him, no worries, since I anticipated his response, and I figured I would just go alone. However, he got upset and said, "You are not in college anymore, and your partying days are over. You are not going on a fuck trip with a bunch of drunk frat boys." I showed him the email with the itinerary, but he rolled his eyes and said, "You are all going to end up drunk and fucking. Who are you kidding?" Then he asked if the guys were married and whether their wives were coming. I told him I did not really know and that it did not matter. He responded, "You are not going, and that is the end of it." I feel so sad. I do not want to email my friends and say I cannot come, but I also do not want to make my boyfriend uncomfortable. Am I an asshole for really wanting to go on this trip? Relevant comments. Commenter. 1. He's your boyfriend, not your master. He does not get to dictate where you go or what you do. Implying that you plan to cheat on him is incredibly disrespectful. Unless you've cheated before, he has no reason to insult your morals like this. I wouldn't stay with someone who spoke to me like this or attempted to control me like this. You aren't wrong, and it's time to plan your exit from this relationship. Reply, I have never ever given him any reason to think like this. I have never cheated on him. Ever. Commenter 2. A few questions. Will you be the only female at the reunion? If no, how many females? Is there anyone in the friend group you have any history with? Relationship or hookup? He called it a fuck trip. Have your past trips been just having fun and casual hookups? Everyone in the comments will be quick to call him controlling or insecure, but most won't even stop to ask for context and get the full picture. I'm sure that dude whose wife cheated on him with her patients would have been called controlling and insecure if he didn't want his wife to go on that trip. Reply, no. 3 girls, 4 guys, if everyone shows up, none never. I did invite him to join us, but he said no. That's why I said then, I'll go alone. Commenter 3. The part where you're not afraid and you don't want to hurt, upset him? That could be how your dad felt when he didn't stand up for you when your mom was verbally abusing you. You know, your dad was an enabler of your mom's abuse. He prioritized avoiding your mom's potential hurt, upset over your safety and wellness. It kind of seems like you might be repeating your dad's patterns, but with Richard in your mom's role and you as both your dad and the victim. You're enabling Richard to be abusive and controlling to you and prioritizing his potential hurt, upset over your own safety and wellness. Your dad should have stood up and protected you then, and you should stand up and protect you now. Why are you allowing his irrational feelings to control your behavior? Replied, OMG, this comment. I need to think about this. This is so true on so many level. Update. Aita for wanting to go on a trip my BF is uncomfortable with. I keep getting asked the same questions over and over in DMs or comments, so instead of repeating myself, here you go. No, you can't come on the trip instead of my boyfriend. Please stop DMing me about it. If you keep asking, I will block you. Why hasn't he proposed yet? Because he will do it when he's ready. Right now he's focused on buying a bigger place. Do I work, or does he pay for my expenses? I work, and we split house expenses 50-50. I pay half of his current mortgage. No, he is not my ATM and I am paying for the trip myself. No, he won't be baby trapping me. I have an IUD, so he can't mess with it. We've already discussed accidental pregnancy, and if it ever happens, I will terminate it. He is not ready for kids, and we will have them when we're both ready. I'm not in a rush either. Why does he hate my group of friends? He thinks they're dumb and annoying. He came out for drinks with us once when we first met and said afterward that he couldn't stand them. They're very chatty and extroverted, while he is quiet, introverted, and hates loud noises. Are other people bringing their spouses? I asked the organizer, and she confirmed that everyone is, except 1 girl and 2 single guys. Is my boyfriend invited? Of course, but he said hard pass because 3 days with these annoying people would be torture for him. He told me, "You're better than these loud idiots. You've matured. Why are you still hanging out with them?" I texted him saying I wanted to talk, and he said, "If it's about the trip, there's nothing to talk about." I replied, "No, it's about us," and he never responded. He hasn't spoken to me since our argument. Does my boyfriend have some infidelity trauma? I have no idea. He had a long-term ex before, me who is now happily married. They broke up because she met someone else. I'm not sure if it was an affair or if she simply ended things with him to be with the new guy. That's All I know. Why am I low contact LC with my family? I'm LC with my parents because my dad never stands up for me when my mom verbally abuses me. One example was at their anniversary dinner when my mom made a toast in front of everyone about how they were blessed to have a wonderful son, my brother, and then pushed their luck by having me. She said, "We should have stopped while we were ahead." When I confronted my dad, he dismissed it as a joke. Later, my mom doubled down, saying, "The truth hurts. You've been an underachieving disappointment your whole life." No other updates. I'll talk to him later today. At this point, I'm more hurt that he assumed I would cheat. It's not even about the trip anymore. Relevant comments. Commenter. 1. I'm curious to know who does the cooking and chores. Glad you have your own money. Your BF is showing you very bad character to question your integrity. Reply. He loves cooking and does it all the time. I have OCD, so I do all the cleaning, grocery, shopping, and other stuff we do. Together. Commenter 2. You pay half his mortgage? So he's using you. And what he said about your friends? He's a major jerk. Dump him and go on the trip. Reply. It's actually much cheaper than what my rent used to be when I was living alone. Commenter 3. Okay. Will he ever put your name on the deed for the place you are paying for? Reply. No, because he paid the down payment. So it's his house that I moved in. Commenter 4. But you're paying half the mortgage? Do you have a landlord-tenancy agreement? If not, you are paying for his assets. He's using you as an ATM. Reply. No, I do not have any written contract. Verbal agreement only. Commenter 5. This is a hard one, so wanna play devil's advocate for the fact that friends can be bad. I've never liked any of my girlfriend's friends because they were bad influences and wanted her to act single when they were single. That's case by case though. So, not sure if you are being truthful if your friends are good people. Chatty and extroverted. Could be a polite way of saying drunk, loud, and messy. Mine is him making a personal decision for you on this trip. Has he been a great boyfriend? Does he prevent you from seeing other friends nearby or family? No abuse, violence, or controlling behavior besides right now? If no, then these people must be under his skin for some reason. Not sure how to formulate advice other than, is this trip worth your relationship? Only you can make that decision. Reply. I go out with my coworkers for lunch all the time. No zero. Violence or abuse. He spends a lot of time with me. Final. Update. Aita for wanting to travel when my boyfriend feels uncomfortable. Richard and I talked last night. He broke up with me. I told him I was hurt that he assumed I'd cheat on him. He said he was disappointed, that I didn't respect his boundary and chose the trip instead. Then he hit me with, I thought you were a mature, smart woman, but you are still a silly, immature little girl. Oh, and apparently I'm not wife material. He also said he wanted me out of his place ASAP, and even threw in a snarky comment. Technically, your name isn't on the deed. You're just a house guest. I could kick you out right now. I was like, wow, after 5 years, you're really kicking me out in a snowstorm? Hey, we had over 30 centimeters of snow yesterday. Luckily, my grandma is letting me stay with her until I find a new place. And when my mom finds out, oh, she's going to love this. More material to make fun of me. And yeah, no trip for me. I have packing and apartment hunting to do instead. Relevant comments. Commenter. 1. I'm 90% sure you're Canadian. You're entitled to part of the house. 5 years together gives you that right in Canada. Reply. I am Canadian. Quebec. Commenter 2. You should still go on your trip. Take out the valuable things to your grandma's. Then go back to get the rest when you're back. Reply. That's what my grandma suggested, but I'm too embarrassed and depressed to even thinking about going on the trip. Maybe next time. Commenter 3. Why are you embarrassed? Because you got rid of abusive ex? Reply. Because after 5 years my boyfriend threw me out like a piece of trash. That my mother will say I was right. You are incapable of holding on to a relationship. You are unlovable. You are just impossible. Stories number 13. Aita for refusing to move out of the house I share with my brother and his wife. This will be a bit of a long story, but in 2012, when I was 20 and my brother was 22, he moved to another city and started renting a small house from an elderly woman, with 5 other students. Later, when I was 22 and my brother was 24, I decided to change my major and attend university in his city. During that time, The 5 students in his house became just 1. So, I moved in. 2 more years. It was just my brother and I, and the old lady decided to move to America and sell the house. She asked if we want to buy it. The price was too good, so we didn't even think and said, yes. And this is how the house became ours. In 2018, my brother met his future wife. In 2020, they married, and she moved in with us. The situation was a bit strange, but ultimately it didn't bother me. Like, we're not at home most of the time anyway because we're all working. But 2 months ago, my brother came to me and said we needed to have this talk. What did he mean by this talk? That I needed to move out. At first, he tried to claim it was for my own good, and that I was too old to live with my older brother. But well. Then he let it slip that he and Olivia were planning to have children, like at least 3. Which led us to, we want to redecorate your room for one of the kids. I immediately refused and reminded him that the house was also in my name. My brother said he was willing to pay me for my share, but I really need to move out. I said that if I had to move out, I would take all the things I had bought myself in recent years, which means about 70% of the kitchen, bathroom, living room, and generally common areas. My brother got angry and the conversation ended. I haven't experienced anything bad after that, and after a week, he even apologized for his behavior and everything seemed to be going well. Then, our father showed up last Friday. He was ready to help me pack my stuff and take me back to family house. My brother and his wife were not home at the time, and when I told my father that I didn't know what he meant, he was confused and told me that he and my brother had been talking about it for 2 months and, according to my brother, everything was already sorted out. I ended up sending my father home, and my brother and his wife and I had a huge fight where they called me selfish. But I don't think I'm being selfish, like it's my home too. Edit. Guys, I appreciate the advice, but I need to point out 2 things. First, I don't want to move out, and I don't intend to. Second, we're not in America, so a lot of American advice doesn't apply here. My brother can't just buy me out without my consent. I can't buy him out, and neither of us can suddenly demand the entire house be sold. But I also came here to ask Aita, not for legal advice. Yes, I told my brother he can move out no. He doesn't want that even if I pay him no. I will not have a husband, art wife, or children, yes. Technically my SEL pays for some things, yes. She's still registered at her previous address. No. She doesn't have any ownership over the house, no. I have no plans to reconcile with my brother now. I think the moment he involved our father was the moment that ruined the relationship for me, and that would require a proper, sincere apology from my brother. No, my brother never specified exactly how much he wanted to pay me for the house, and honestly, it doesn't really matter to me because I'm not moving out, no, I really didn't see it coming. When we bought the house, my brother thought he was gay. Then he came out as bi, but he still didn't want children. Neither his wife, no. 2 women and 2 men cannot get married in our country. Oh, this house really isn't suitable for adding additional walls. Divide it into 2, yes. Technically, you could build a new floor or expand it. We have 3 rooms, one of which is the size of a closet. A living room, kitchen, and a bathroom, no. My brother's wife is not pregnant yet. Also, I am a woman, not a man. Comments. Commenter 1. There are choices. Your brother and his wife are free to move out as equally as they are to unilaterally attempt to bully you out. They are the ones with the issue, not you. They need to solve their issue themselves. NTA Commenter 2. You aren't being selfish and don't let anyone convince you that you are. You and your brother co-own a house. Just because he wants to have kids doesn't mean you are required to move out or part with your things. He and your SIL are giant cowards for roping your father in. If you don't want to move out, then don't. Let him move out if he needs more space, or sell the home and you can both walk away. NTA. Commenter 3. What the hell? NTA. If he wants you to move out, he can buy you out. And what a dick move to send your dad without your knowledge. You own half of the house. He can't throw you out. Commenter 4. See what the house would sell for on the open market and let your brother buy you out. Or vice versa. Someone's got to go. Make it equitable. NTA Stories. Number 14. Aita for telling my mom she wasn't the better parent. and that it sounded like heaven when she said, she'd never talk to me again? I, 23F, and my mom, 49F, have never really gotten along. Growing up, she treated me differently from my siblings. I'm the second oldest of 4, and she was always stricter and harsher with me. If I brought home anything less than an A, I got grounded. Even 1B on an assignment meant trouble. My siblings never had that rule. On top of that, she always commented on my weight. She called me the fat kid, even though I was thin. She never said this to my siblings, just me. As I got older, I realized she liked getting a reaction out of me. At first I defended myself, but when I stopped, she escalated and even got physical. On my 18th birthday, while I was still in high school, she kicked me out. By then I was already staying with a friend most of the time just to get away from her. Now, as an adult, I hardly speak to her. At family events, we might exchange a few words, but that's it. Recently, I was at my sister's place and she had my mom on speakerphone. I was in the background, talking to my brother, and he asked who I thought was nicer, Mom or Dad. Without thinking, I said Dad. My dad wasn't great either. He wasn't around much and could be harsh, but compared to my mom, he's nicer. I also talked to him more, though not a ton. My mom overheard, asked what I said, and I repeated it. She snapped and said she'd never speak to me again. I said, "You're saying that like it's a bad thing. Honestly, it sounds like heaven." She didn't hang up on me but ended the call on my sister, who was the one talking to her. Later, my sister texted me that my mom took me off her car insurance. I never asked to be on it anyway. She added me without telling me because it lowered her own rate. One day she just said, "Hey, I put you on my plan." I didn't argue, but now I see it was just another way to control me. She's done stuff like this before. When I was younger, she'd put my phone on her plan and shut it off whenever she got mad. This time was the same. After removing me, she told my sister, since she thinks her dad is the better parent, let him put her on his insurance. I never said better parent. I just said Dad was nicer. She also told my sister she hoped my car got impounded and that she could turn it off through OnStar. My car is fully paid off, so I doubt that's even possible. But the fact she said it was ridiculous. I didn't need her insurance anyway. Before she added me, I was paying for my own. After she removed me, I just went back to mine. Meanwhile, my sister said I was too harsh and should apologize because Mom has done so much for you. I asked what she meant, and she said, she put a roof over your head and gave you food and clothes. That's literally the bare minimum of parenting. Now my mom has gone to my grandparents and aunts saying I was disrespectful and need to apologize. From my perspective, I just answered my brother's question honestly. So Reddit, Aita, commente un. Objectively, your mom is an AH, but your sister is approaching AH status with her comment. You didn't ask to be born. It is your parents' job to feed, clothe, and house you. You may want to remind your sister that your mom kicked you out at 18, and so her suggestion that a roof over your head merits an apology is wide of the mark. Your NTA, your family may, not so sure. Commenter 2, NTA. And she stopped providing a roof over your head while you were still in high school. So your sister's argument really doesn't hold water. Commenter 3, NTA. All you did was state your honest opinion about your mother, who is an AH. Don't take their opinion for anything. You don't need the approval of a family that is in the pocket of an abuser. Sorry, OP. You should probably cut off contact from all of them. Commenter 4, NTA. Did your siblings ever notice the way she treated you compared to them? Did she badmouth you to them, convincing THM that she was harder on you because like you were bad? Or were they just afraid to end up being treated like you were, that they allowed themselves to be convinced? Suggest to sister and other siblings that it's time for them to set aside childlike thinking and embrace adult thinking. They should not hold to the thinking of their childhood and embrace mother's treatment of them and of you. Use their observation and sense of fairness to make up their minds. Update. Aita, for telling my mom she wasn't the better parent and that it sounded like heaven when she said she'd never talk to me again. Thank you all for your kind words. Honestly, reading your responses really helped me step back and validate my own perspective. Growing up with my mom has always been difficult. She's narcissistic, controlling, and manipulative. Her whole family has mostly tolerated it, which made me feel like I was constantly in the wrong, always backed into a corner. This situation helped me realize I needed to step out of that mindset. I needed to see my experiences from my own perspective and recognize that my feelings and reactions are valid. For instance, talking to my grandmother about the situation confirmed what I already knew. My mom has always treated everyone poorly, and it's not just me. Most family members tolerate her behavior to avoid conflict, even my younger siblings. I've always been outspoken about her treatment of us, which has made me seem difficult, but in reality, I've just been honest about her behavior. As a result of this recent incident, I've decided to go low contact with my brother. He has been influenced by my mom and started calling and texting me with insults about things I supposedly did wrong, things that only make sense from her perspective. I'll probably also go low contact with my sister because I've realized she shares information about my life with my mom, even after I've asked her not to. I want to protect my boundaries and maintain some privacy. Regarding my mom, I'll be moving to no contact. I was already pretty much no contact, but also I'll be including avoiding family functions where she's present and limit any other interactions, so that I can protect my mental health and break the cycle of manipulation I've experienced my whole life. Thank you again to everyone who offered support and advice. Comments. Commenter. 1. You can't begin to heal until you pluck the splinter out. If you leave it in, the wound just keeps festering. You've done the painful part and pulled the splinter out. Good for you. Now focus on yourself. Heal. Grieve if you need to. Take care of yourself and love yourself. Well done, OP. Commenter 2. Hi there. I can be your internet mom now. I'm so proud of you and you are so beautiful, inside and out. Now go have a good day. Commenter 3. NTAH. My mother was also a narcissist. Very little was known about it. It took me forever to get out from under her influence. My mother used to call and give me a hard time, as usual. If I said anything to her about it, she would say in a nasty, nasty tone, "Well, I'm never talking to you again." To which I finally one day responded, "Promises, promises," and hung up on her. It's a learning curve. It took practice. I continued to hang up on her until I went full no contact for 8 years. I did get her into an assisted living place when she could no longer live on her own. I really recommend getting into therapy. I also recommend looking up short videos by Narcissistic Abuse Awareness and Recovery Coalition. There's a lot of stuff online. That's really helpful. The behaviors of family members and friends around a narcissist is also well documented. They call them flying monkeys. They'll do anything to maintain their peace. It doesn't matter that you are right and the narcissist is the troublemaker. It's easier to put you down than to deal with the narcissist. It's a journey. Progress, not perfection. Forgive yourself. It's not your fault. Stories number 15. How I ruined the night. After their wedding night, recently thought of the day I ruined the night after their wedding night to a couple. We had a booking for them for 2 or 3 nights and fully aware they were coming after their wedding. First night is a no-show. We contact them the next morning and they confirm they will be coming later that day and are informed of the no-show fee, which also means that regardless of their time of arrival, their room will be ready. Finally, the newly wedded couple arrive and are being checked in by a senior front desk agent. Unfortunately, they have no ID and no credit card. The FDA informed them of the policy that we must get the two physically in order to process to their check-in, coming to the property for the first time. Since they were insistent, I step in, congratulate them on their wedding night, and reiterated the policy, which is as a safety precaution. Him was quite nice and understanding. However, she was not at all understanding. They informed me that they got married the day before. Their whole house was upside down. Therefore, they did not know where their wallets were. I was happy to bend the rules a little bit by seeing on their phone a copy of both their IDs, however remained firm on the credit card. Tried working out a solution. A friend living close by who could provide a guarantee for them, or even happy to hold the room longer for them to find their belongings in their messy house. Sadly, none of what I proposed was suitable for them and the left, seeming more understanding of the situation. Well, 15 minutes later, the new bride came back to the desk very unhappy that I ruined their special day. She acknowledged that they were at fault by not being able to provide any guarantee but based on our type of hotel. High-end, luxury hotel, and highly established reputation. Did not like the fact that we could not accommodate them. She stated we could use the credit card on file since we usually use those if guests do not show up, which was, of course, a big no. She even suggested that we let them in and they would send a wire transfer when the bank reopened. We were on a long weekend, which of course has been declined. She stormed away mentioning she will send an email to complain, and took my name all the while saying again how I ruined a very special night that she will never get it back. Couple weeks passed by, and indeed she sent a nasty email to the CEO of the hotel company complaining about me, all the while acknowledging their own fault. Informed my boss of the situation and she fully agreed with my decision to help the hotel reputation and show goodwill. My boss replied and offered a complimentary night at the hotel. Oh, and also she was a B-list actress that I was supposed to know of. Comments. Commenter. 1. If you don't know where your wallet is, you're not ready to leave the house. Commenter 2. Your boss shouldn't have given her the free night. It just makes people like that even more entitled, and who in this day and age doesn't realize that showing ID proof of who you are isn't standard? Reply. I wish she had not given the complimentary night. If she really wanted to give something, I would have done an upgrade to a suite or something like that. The comp night was too much to my taste. Commenter. 3. This is why people complain. They don't care how rude they are to you. They know the company will give them a freebie. If only the management had the balls to reply that the staff followed policy and there was nothing that could be done, then people might not carry on. Reply. I moved across different location with the same brand and this property. I adored that they were saying no to guests. However, since she emailed the CEO of the company, I assume we comped a room to show how we treat our wonderful guests. However, with the years I have the impression people talk among themselves that if you complain with our brand you'll get freebies. Commenter. 4. I don't care if you're the president of the United States, rules are there for a reason. You know at the time your reservation is made that you must present both ID and credit card. Not only does it say that on every booking site but on your confirmation. She would have gotten nothing from us. Stories number 16. Friend acted like I'm weird because I wash my hands with soap after I poop. So today I went to my friend's house. Let's call him Jake. Love the guy, good people. Known him since middle school. We're both young adults now with our own apartments. I had to take a shit. I did my business, and no hand soap or bar soap by the sink. Thinking he must have soap, I call out, "Yo, where's your hand soap?" He immediately acts baffled. "Bro, I don't got hand soap." Who the fuck washes their hands after they shit, anybody? 100% serious, no comedic tone in his voice at all. I couldn't hold back my disgust. I told him he's fucking nasty and called him a caveman. We both laughed, but I was still grossed out, and now feeling somewhat annoyed that he acted like it's outlandish or bougie, his word, to have hand soap, or at least some kind of soap by the sink in your bathroom. I ended up using the dish soap in his kitchen. Jake and his girlfriend that lives with him are not poor. They're definitely not wealthy by any stretch of the word, but well off enough to have fucking soap in their bathroom. Jake did grow up in a low-income household that, yes, didn't have soap in the bathroom, but he's older now with his own place and can afford it. Why, you would think he would want to break the old habit, for lack of better phrasing, and use soap now? His brother, who grew up the same way as him, has great hygiene and uses hand soap after shitting. What's wrong with this kid? How is his girlfriend okay with this? The thought that they are evidently raising their son to not wash his hands after he shits is kind of infuriating to me. Am I a bougie asshole? Or is Jake just a nasty motherfucker? I'm not sure why this annoyed me so much, but it did. Comments. Commenter 1. It never fails to astound me the lack of basic parenting some adults have experienced. Being taught to wash your hards after the bathroom is as basic as being taught how to wash your ass. I would now presume he hasn't been taught that either. Commenter 2. I wouldn't be going over to his shit germ-ridden house again. Also don't consume any food he has handled ever. Commenter 3. Basic hygiene is bougie to him. Unetresu. Vile. I would have darted out of that place while trying not to vomit. This is gross. Not just after poop, you clearly couldn't find any soap. He never washes his hands with soap. Commenter 4. You're not bougie, you're just normal. Seriously, washing your hands with soap after using the bathroom is like Hygiene 101. I can't wrap my head around how his girlfriend is fine with that. What do they do when they're in the kitchen together? Stories. Number 17. I 23. Na found out through a friend that my girlfriend 21 F of 3 years and her current best childhood friend 21 M dated for 4 years in high school. I'm ready to end things, but am I overreacting? I met Nicole 3 years ago around my second year of college. I'm from out of the state. I received a full scholarship to the university that we're currently at, so I didn't have any friends at the time. She was nice and took interest in me pretty quickly, and we started dating. She's told me from the beginning that she had been best friends with this guy Adam since they were little, and they were very close and their families were close. Which I was fine with at the time. I'm not really a jealous person and I'm pretty laid back. Adam seemed like a nice guy, and I thought, who am I to really tell her who she can and can't be friends with? Anyways, they have been close even. Through the relationship, they go on trips together with their families. They study together, have a few classes together, dinner, lunch, etc. And they have even stayed the night at each other's apartments. It was weird at first, but I trusted her as well as him. And honestly, she always told me ahead of time, so I felt like it was fine. Not ideal. It never really affected our relationship. We spent time together, had a great connection, and all that good stuff. Nicole and Adam left on Sunday. They finished finals early or something like that, to head down to their family's beach house like 4 hours away from campus. They did invite me, but I have some finals left, and then I have summer courses starting nearly immediately after my finals, so I declined so that I could prep for my final 2 courses before I graduate. I met up in the library with one of her friends in my web design class to put some finishing touches on our final project. We get on the topic of relationships, and she was telling me about how when she started dating her current boyfriend, she made him cut all contact with his ex-girlfriend even though she wanted to remain close with him. She asked me why I didn't do the same, and I was confused. I didn't understand what she meant, and then she explained why, showed me proof that Nicole and Adam dated throughout high school. They also went to prom together. I was pretty lost as to what to do or how to feel. I found out yesterday, and all I could think what that Adam could potentially be screwing my girlfriend at this very moment. I trusted her. But I mean, I've never seen exes hang out and be as buddy-buddy as them without hooking up before. As dense as it sounds, I almost can't wrap my head around their level of closeness and not doing it. I talked to my older sister and she told me I had to calm down and that maybe there was a reason for why they never said anything. She said if I trusted Nicole before knowing, she didn't see why I would suddenly accuse her otherwise, even if her best friend is her ex. But I feel like that logic is so flawed because my entire foundation of trust for this relationship stemmed from the fact that Adam was her childhood best friend, not her ex. Honestly, if she would have told me before we started dating, I think I probably would have walked away from the relationship. She's a great and nice girl, but getting with someone who is still so heavily involved with their ex is a roller coaster. I don't think I would never willingly sign up for. Am I thinking about this the wrong way? Is it crazy that I'm already considering ending the relationship off this, whether she cheated or not? I haven't brought it up to her yet. I want to talk in person rather than on the phone. I'm going to hide the fact that I know until she come back to campus on Friday to spend my birthday weekend with me, but I don't see any logical explanation that will keep me committed. TLDR. I found out my girlfriend of 3 years' current best friend is actually her high school sweetheart. They are childhood friends, however they are extremely close and regularly spend countlessly hours together, and even the night at each other's apartments from time to time, and go on family vacations together. I feel betrayed like I should end it, but I just want to see if I'm thinking about this the right way, or if I'm still being irrational. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. The lying is problematic. I made a comment already detailing what I think the lying was done for. But the lying is the crux of the issue. Your trust is shattered, and if you pit yourself up against Adam, I am positive she will choose Adam over you every single time. That is the real crux now. Before you thought that you would be a bigger priority than him. It never had to be that way because of the history as you understood it. Now that you know the truth, it will either be something you get over. After hearing her reasons, which I detailed in another comment, I would bet money on it. Or you push and she chooses Adam over you. Lastly, you could try to get over it and just not be able to. I would personally find it very hard to be okay with their friendship after this lie. Reply, the lying is what really makes me just want to leave altogether. Not only her lying, but his lying as well as their families. I've met all of them, and none of them have ever said a word about it, though maybe their families don't know. Emotionally invested or not, I'd never be up for having her pick between an Adam or myself. I'm not that type of person. And those ultimatums, in my opinion, never result in anything but more issues. Also, they do have a lot of history. Families are connected. I feel like I'm the one in the wrong for even stepping into her life. I've been thinking about this too much, although I should be studying instead. But I feel like it's either she's loyal and faithful but knew I wouldn't have even began a relationship with her in the first place, or she's hooking up occasionally or something of the sort of a FWB. Either way, I see it as wrong if she's loyal, which honestly I think might be the case. Then it's wrong of her to omit information and manipulate my choice to begin dating her on the first place. If I had any skeletons in my closet, I would be open and clear about it before I engaged in a relationship with someone, letting them make a clear and honest decision about if it was a deal breaker or not. As for getting over it, I don't think I can, or even if I can, I feel like it's almost not worth the effort. I feel like it's going to mess with the dynamic of our relationship, and then I have to deal with her feeling guilty or always having to check in with me or sending Adam to talk to me or any of the other shit that I don't even want to have to deal with. I'm probably saying this out of convenience, but once I finish this summer semester, I'll be finished. I could have a clean break and move back home with my parents for a few months and be on with my life. Oop replying to a downvoted commenter about giving a second chance, and OOP replying that his agency was taken away. Would you want to confess to someone you just started dating that your best friend was once your boyfriend? The issues of timing and not wanting to scare people off alone could make someone keep mum, and then by the time you get confident enough in the relationship to not worry about them bolting. I don't think this is up to you to decide, especially when there were many opportunities during the talking dating period before we became official. Tricking someone into thinking otherwise doesn't help the cause, whether it be a blatant lie or omission of details. If I wanted to bolt after finding out her current best friend was her ex of 4 years, then that's a decision I should get to make for myself. The fact that she didn't give me the choice, as well as the fact that I had to find out from a friend and not her, just makes this look even worse. I don't know why you claim to trust this girl and yet are so quick to drop her and pronounce everything a lie without even considering that there might be a reason other than her wanting to fuck her bestie for keeping it from you. I trust the girl, but this isn't something so small that I can forgive with the snap of a finger. Whether she is cheating or if she's loyal, which honestly I think might be the case, either way I see it as wrong. It's wrong of her to omit relevant information about herself and manipulate my choice and perception of her just to ensure I begin dating her on the first place, even if her reasoning is because she thought I would leave or wouldn't give her a chance. While it's understandable in my eyes, doesn't make it okay. Update. Nicole showed up Thursday night after my exams to early surprise me for my birthday weekend. We kind of hung out and talked, and I tried my best just to be normal with her. When I asked her about Adam, she was extremely reluctant and borderline defensive to even talk about it. You never brought it up before, why do you want to know about it now? When she realizes I'm not dropping it, she pretty much breaks down and tells me everything. Adam was the one who convinced her not to tell me about their past relationship. The last few guys she tried to talk to were scared off by her being best friends with her ex, and he didn't want me to leave in the same way. It was only supposed to be for a little while. She didn't plan on staying that close to Adam while being a relationship. Adam's dad was in the process of getting a promotion when Nicole and I started dating, which would move him and his family to the Midwest, but the promotion fell through. She said Adam became more direct once he found out he wasn't leaving, constantly insisting that she hang out with him without me, even to the point where she would be canceling plans with me. For most people, I'm sure that would have been a red flag when your GF canceled on you periodically, but I've been taking 6 to 7 course semesters for the past 2 years in attempts to graduate early and get the most out of scholarship. If I wasn't studying or with Nicole, I always had a million other things I could be catching up on or doing. She blamed me for not setting boundaries or being more strict with her, that eventually she became comfortable with her freedom with him. Adam still has really strong feelings for her, though she said she didn't feel the same way about him. She admitted that Adam over time grew to resent me and became very jealous of our relationship, and how effortlessly happy I made her feel. She tells me she never cheated me on despite Adam's advances and flirtation. At this point, she is crying and emotional, and extremely desperation. She begs for forgiveness, and says that she'll cut all ties from Adam, and she won't ever talk to him again or hang out with him anymore. That I'm the only person she wants to spend her life with, and a bunch of other ridiculousness I could hardly even listen to. I was angry and probably didn't say it the way I should have, but I told her it was the perpetual lying and deceitfulness which had me so angry, and that was the reason I was breaking up with her. That's pretty much how it ended, with me telling her she could leave. Adam sent some hateful text to me which I ignored. Yesterday night I was pretty much an emotional wreck. I felt ashamed, angry at myself for even crying over someone so stupid. But I woke up this morning and I didn't feel nearly as bad as I thought. Spoke to my best friend about it, and he really helped me put it into perspective. I'm going home tonight for my birthday weekend, and then I'll just focus finishing school and finding a job. TLDR, we broke up. It was Adam's idea from the start to hide it all from me. Adam still has strong feelings for her and when alone would flirt with her. He always secretly resented me for dating Nicole and our happiness. I don't know if she actually physically cheated on me, but last time they did anything sexual was the day before we started dating. I'm glad it's over and even more glad I don't live in this state. Thanks for the advice. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. She blamed you for not setting boundaries for her behavior with him when she was the only one to know of his one-sided feelings? Wow. Best of luck with graduation and happy birthday. Reply, thanks. I think the one moment looking back on this that got me the most riled up was last year. I went back home for winter break and went out to the movies with my best friend, his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's best friend, who was my ex from high school. I told her about it ahead of time, told her exactly what we'd be doing, that the 4 of us were going to see a movie and get some dinner. And she completely blew it out of proportion and made me feel so guilty about going to see a movie with some friends. I don't think I've ever shown that kind of anger in my life. Commenter 2. So there is no time frame on when Adam found out he wasn't leaving. It could have been way more recently. You have no idea how she rebuked his advances or what their conversations were like. She could have rebuked him several times and didn't want to bring it up with her BF because it would just be unnecessary drama in her life, since she no longer sees Adam in that way. Where I can see being upset, breaking up with her over, it just seems extreme, especially when she 1. Comes clean, 2. Admits she was wrong, and 3. Is willing to fix it. Hey, why? Do people not get second chances anymore? Is that just not a thing that is done? OP expands on the timeline. When I first found out about her and her best friend being exes from high school, I was ready to end it immediately with her. I was upset that I got lied to and even more angry that I had to hear it from a friend, and not even her. I took some time and really thought about it, and before I spoke with her last night I was fully willing to forgive her if her reasoning was to avoid drama or something of the sort. I do believe it's second chances, but trust is something that is hard to win back. But Adam found out 6 months into my relationship with her that his dad wasn't getting promoted and moving on. That's basically 2.5 years for Nicole to take responsibility and separate herself from him, especially if he likes him. Whether she felt the same way or not, in my eyes, it's so wrong to keep hanging out and sleeping over with someone who has such strong feelings for you when you have so. Comes clean. She comes clean only after I confronted her about it. Her original plan was just to never tell me. After the year mark, she told me that she realized she was too deep, and it was the only way. Admits she was wrong. She blamed me for everything. It's my fault for not setting up boundaries and having too much trust in my SO in her decision-making skills and accessing what is and isn't appropriate. 3. Is willing to fix it. Not until she knows I'm fucking 100% done with the relationship does this even become an option. She tried to blame me for the entire thing and make me feel guilty as if her hiding this information and me not playing detective and finding out is my fault. Even if I was willing to forgive her and try again, our relationship dynamic is ruined. I don't want to be the controlling boyfriend and I can't be with someone who I don't trust. Commenter 3. I mean, if you really feel like you can't trust her again, I understand where you're coming from with the breakup. I don't know the conversations you guys had or how much she blamed you for. I do think it's weird that you had so much trust in her but no longer do because she kept this from you. Like your sister said, if you were okay with it before you knew they had a previous relationship, I see no problem with it now. Your explanation for point 3 confuses me. Her wanting to fix it is not genuine because she didn't offer it until she realized you were done. Maybe think about it from her perspective. In her eyes it was just a small lie, and she never cheated on you, so she didn't think it was a big deal. I would have thought the same as her. Probably why I was so shocked that you broke up with her. Reply, I can't trust her again, as simple as that. I do think it's weird that you had so much trust in her but no longer do because she kept this from you. Before this incident and this lie, I had no reason not to trust her. That's how trust works. Once you break someone's trust, they in turn no longer trust you. I saw a quote somewhere about trust takes years to build and only seconds to break or something like that. Your explanation for point 3 confuses me. Her wanting to fix it is not genuine because she didn't offer it until she realized you were done. She was going to take this small lie to the grave, which means in the end it wasn't a small lie after all. Any lie you're not willing to confess to pretty much means it's pretty big, important. Otherwise, what's the point of hiding it? Honestly, I was willing to look past the lie if she had any reasonable explanation and make amends. But once she told me that he still had feelings, purposely kept her from hanging out with me and was actively trying to sabotage our relationship, I was pretty much done. Even if she didn't cheat, the fact that she continued to hang out with and spend the night with a guy who was actively trying to flirt and get in her pants is more than enough reason to walk away from everything. That's like high school level decision making at its finest. It sounds like she really likes you and she wants to try and make it work. The thing about it is that I really liked her as well. I wanted to make it work more than anything in the world. I really did. It's something that I couldn't really convey in my post, is that I always saw this girl as like my escape away from everything. I've been in study mode since I was 18 and I haven't really had much time for the simple things in life like hanging out with a girlfriend or going out to parties or anything like that. I didn't want a relationship at first because I didn't think I would have the time or be able to time manage properly. When I was busy, I always encouraged her to have fun with her other friends. There was a mutual trust there, especially with Adam. It was rough at first, but eventually she convinced me nothing would happen between them and that he was just a childhood friend. But I made it explicitly clear way back when we started dating. She had concerns about her freedom and being able to do as she wanted, and she wanted to know why I trusted her so much, since her other boyfriends didn't, and gave her so much space, and I told her that I had no reason not to trust her. She's my girlfriend after all. All I ask is that you tell me the truth, even if it'll hurt my feelings or get me upset. I realize my school schedule isn't ideal, but I think we can work through just about anything. But I don't think people owe their SO their entire dating history, including people you know in common. I strongly disagree with this statement. If you guys have mutual friends, that's when disclosing pasts are the most important, especially when you don't disclose your past with someone because you know it'll alter decisions and other aspects of your relationship. That's not cool on a bunch of levels. Omitted to tell someone about a neighbor who you slept with 3 years ago isn't the same as keeping an ex under your SO nose. Maybe if her and Adam saw each other occasionally, or weekly or monthly, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but when you hang out with someone pretty much 4 or 5 times a week, it becomes a problem. You owe it to your SO to tell them about people you interact with often. Maybe you're different than me and have yourself and your relationship with your SO all figured out, but that's a really big deal in my book. She's being honest about everything that's happened during your relationship. Could no longer trust what happened during our relationship. I didn't know what was truth and what was a lie. However, I spoke with her on today actually. She came to visit me at my apartment unannounced, and though we are broken up, she felt the need to tell me more about it. She apologized how she acted, letting her disappointment, shamefulness, and guilt get the better of her. She apologized for Adam's text message and some other things she did. But she did in fact cheat on me. It happened too. Different occasions throughout different parts of our relationship, every occasion mixed with alcohol and them being alone for the night. All initiated by Adam. They also have kissed, or as she told me, Adam would kiss her frequently on the lips, taking advantage of her. So, based off that alone, I'm 2000% done. I had my doubts. Maybe she really did just lie about them being exes, but when she confirmed that she cheated, that's when I knew I made the right decision to move on. Has it been a roller coaster? Did it affect your relationship in any way before you found out? As for this, all I can say is that ignorance is bliss. Looking back on it now, I can vividly see periods that would have made me question everything. Freedoms and things that I was okay with, I would have freaked over. Letting her sleep at his house was a big deal. Having to split my limited free time up with him was a huge issue for me. Despite the cheating and lying, I do care for her, but I can never be with her again. She either has to date Adam or get the fuck away from him, but that's not something I can be a part of right now. Like I told someone else, before I leave back to my hometown for good, maybe I'll sit down with her and give her a new perspective on things, but right now she can learn on her own. Stories number 18. Wibte. If I don't give back the $40K my heavily Christian aunt gave to me, since she won't be needing it when the rapture comes. For those of who are unaware, there's a faction of Christians out there who believe that the rapture is going to happen on Tuesday. My aunt is one of those people, and she has been going around telling everybody how people will float into the sky and whatnot. I'm queer and agnostic, and while I was raised loosely Christian, I haven't identified with the religion since I was in 5th grade. Most of my family on my mother's side, except for my aunt, are Christian, but not particularly devout, and certainly not as much as her, nor do they believe in the rapture. She apparently became very, very involved in the religion at some point in college. Basically, my entire life, I have been ridiculed by my aunt for being queer, since I came out at a young age. Most of my family was very kind, accepting, and understanding, except for her. I spent every family gathering getting basically cornered, bullied, harassed, called slurs, and preached at by a grown woman for my sexuality. It got to the point that my mother had to have several sit-down conversation with her to essentially tell her to quit harassing me. This endured for a long time, and while my parents would always tell her to knock it off, she never would. But one day my mother seriously put her foot down against her. She made it clear that my family accepted me, and if she wouldn't tone it down, she would no longer be welcome in our home or around me. During this conversation, my aunt alleged called my family bad Christians for not sending me to conversion therapy, and that they would regret not making me repent once the rapture was upon us. But that was a few years ago, and ever since then, I mostly just get sideways glances from her at family events, and the occasional Bible verse text from her, which I can manage. I am now an adult, 19, and in college, and I was recently contacted by my aunt to meet up with her for lunch. I assumed that maybe she had a change of heart and wanted to apologize for how she treated me. This was not the case. When we met up, she essentially went on a long-winded spiel about how she pities me and feels so sorry that I never repented, and how I and the rest of my family will be left behind because we never fully gave our lives to Christ. At the end of her monologue, she pulled out a stack of cash, all in $100 bills, and handed it to me, telling me that she wanted to give away her savings to those less fortunate, since she wouldn't be needing it when the rapture comes and delivers her to the Lord. I tried to talk her out of it, but she insisted, and practically forced the money into my hands, before abruptly walking away. I counted it when I got home, and it was slightly over $40K in cash. Here's where I think I would be the when the rapture inevitably doesn't happen. I have no plans of giving the money back to her. I know she's been going through some kind of long-enduring religious psychosis, but I could honestly really use this type of cash to put me through college and handle other expenses, and she gave it to me willingly. Bida, if I didn't give her back the money when the rapture doesn't happen? Edit. My parents are now aware of this because she apparently decided to try to gift my younger sister a car. Her relatively new, nice Ford Bronco. I told my parents about the money, and my mother, who is also Christian, told me that it would be the most ethical thing to do if I gave it back to her, and that I need to be empathetic to the struggles she's clearly going through. My dad, however, thinks that if she was stupid enough to give away her life savings on a whim, the money is better off going towards my education anyways. I'm still torn. Update 2. Just wanted to clarify a few things. I am a bisexual woman. A few people here thought I was a man. I have no idea why she would want to give me, of all people, the money. I'm just as confused as the rest of you. From what I grasped, it seemed as though it was some final act of kindness towards somebody she takes great pity on. I don't know LMFAOO. As a few of you said, I should probably leave some kind of trail to prove this was freely given, and I didn't steal from her, so there's no legal repercussions. Should I choose to keep it? I'm still not sold on any course of action yet, especially because it's not Wednesday yet. So I sent her an email thanking her for the gift and reiterating that I did not originally want it, but it was just oh so very gracious of her to give money to a poor sinner like me. I don't want to take advantage of the mentally ill, but the selfish part of me sees this as reparations for all the torment I endured when I was younger. I've heard a few people say to invest the money instead of immediately putting it towards college, and if I keep it, that will definitely be considered. I don't expect to update again until the rapture has passed, but I will update once that rolls around. Mini edit. Doing my own research on the current rapture craze going on, they think the rapture will happen either Tuesday 23rd or Wed 24th, so I will update on Thursday. Comments. Commenter 1. If she contacts you, it would be fun to exclaim, "What are you doing here? So many people I know are gone. They just disappeared." Commenter 2. NTA. My weird uncle gave me his vintage coin collection before Y2K for the same reason. When nothing happened, he was too embarrassed to ask for it back. Sometimes the best gifts come with a side of crazy. Enjoy your tuition money. Commenter 3. NTA, she gave it to you willingly after years of mistreating you. It's not your job to manage her choices, and using it for your education is a far better outcome than letting her throw it away. Commenter 4. She got skipped over with the last 15-20 raptures. Why does she think she's making the list this time? LOL. Stories, number 19. Wibty. If I told my best friend's boyfriend that she cheated on him last weekend, I'm feeling a bit conflicted because my absolute best friend of 11 years made a pretty big mistake last weekend. We went out downtown for drinks and dancing because her relationship has been a bit rocky lately. They have been together for 8 years and have 2 kids together. Last weekend she said she was going to break up with him, so she slept with a guy she met while we were at a bar. In the last week, her and her BF have decided to stay together, and she told me she is taking what she did to the grave. I told her that he really deserves to know. She has been cheated on before, so she knows how much it sucks. I feel like I'm in a weird position because my loyalty is to my friend but my morals are loyal to anyone. My gut tells me to tell him, but my heart knows that will end our friendship, and potentially their relationship. I am currently planning on calling him tonight to tell him. I want to give her a heads up before I do it so she can decide if she would rather tell him herself. Yiwei. Wibta. Update. I told him last night. Aita has no consensus bot. OP received the majority of NTA's relevant comments. OP is urged to tell the BF about the cheating. Reply. The issue with that is I'm the only person that knows besides her and the guys she cheated with. She literally said, if her BF ever find out, I'll know it was you. Commenter 1. Weren't you two in public where anyone could have seen her hitting on guys or vice versa? One of his friends could have been at the bar. How close are you to him? Are you friends? I feel for you as I would have a real problem not telling on one of either of them. I'd stay out of it. Reply, we do refer to each other as family. Like he says in his little sister, and I refer to him as a brother. So yes, we are close. But mostly because of my friends. He has always been there for me when I had a crazy ex threaten my safety. So I think that's an aspect. He always looks out for me, so I feel I need to do the same here. Commenter 2. You should definitely give her the opportunity to tell him herself at the very least, and discuss what that timeline may look like before giving any ultimatums to her. If they have kids, she may not be able to have this discussion on a weeknight. People work, have home kid responsibilities, probably don't want to be crying, yelling, fighting in front of their children. What's going on in his life? Is this information going to crush him and ruin or jeopardize something important to him? Maybe she wants to do this in the presence of a counselor? This is going to be a hard, emotional, tough discussion with some tough decisions for them to make. They may need a babysitter. The truth typically comes out, and if your friend has some decency, having this secret will tear her up. Give her a chance to do the right thing. Also, as you mentioned, you telling him will ruin your relationship with your friend. Oh, and he may get mad at you for some reason, and they may still stay together anyways. Or you telling him instead of her will end any chance of them working it out themselves. And if your friend doesn't tell him and this goes against your morals, is this a friend you even want to have in the first place? Losing your friendship because she won't do the right thing is also a consequence, and maybe one you can dish out that's more in your lane. Reply, this is really great insight. You bring up some really great points. One thing you mentioned that is in the back of my head is, my opinion of her has changed since last weekend. I tend to view people who cheat as people with little or no empathy or morals, so I am even questioning if she fits in my life the same now. Because if she can cheat on her BF or father of her kids, she could also betray me. And yes, their kids are very young, but nonetheless, you are right. They probably want to have a safe place to do this. I am the only one that trusts to watch their kids, so perhaps I can offer her that I will hang out with the kids while they have that conversation for as long as they need. I think giving her until Sunday night feels right since she doesn't work, and he is off this weekend. What do you think about that? Oop should end her friendship with the friend because it has revealed the friend's character. Reply. It was more like friend texts me that she's been wanting a girls' night. She's been cooped up in the house a lot and things have been up and down with her BF. Would I be up for trying a new bar lounge that opened up? Here is the full update. I called her on Friday just telling her that I wasn't comfortable carrying this secret for her. My moral compass tells me that her BF deserves to know, and as two women, me and her, who have both been cheating on, I expect her to understand. So I told her she needed to tell him this weekend or I would. I offered to take the kids out to ice cream and a movie, so they could have the house and afternoon to themselves to talk through this. I also let her know that it would sound much better coming from her. The opportunity to work through this would probably be higher, because accountability and honesty are important in relationships. She didn't respond too well to this. She told me that it was none of my business and I would just be trying to ruin her relationship. She also let me know she would never forgive me. I let her know that I wasn't seeking her forgiveness and that it was my business when she chose to cheat on her BF on our girls' night, and that I wouldn't be the one ruining her relationship, her actions would be. She was very upset and rejected my offer to watch her kiddos, but said she would have the conversation after she put the kids down to bed. I followed up yesterday morning to see if she had the conversation. She left me on read at 10:53 a.m. I sent another later that evening around 5 p.m. to find I had been blocked. So I took that as my answer and FaceTimed her BF. I did have an image from that night of her at the bar with the guy she cheated with. I took it as I was leaving. To get in my Uber, she insisted that I leave her alone that night even though I told her she was making a big mistake. At first he thought I was making this up, but after he was able to ask some questions and saw the picture, he simply thanked me for letting him know. He let me know he is going to get tested because they have been intimate in the last week since she cheated. I am unsure where the relationship stands, and I am pretty confident I won't ever really know as my best friend has now blocked me on everything. I expected the friendship to end, whether I told him or not, because I don't want to be surrounded by anyone who would betray someone they are supposed to love. I have started receiving a lot of scam calls for insurance quotes, and a few "fuck you" texts from an unknown number. I assume these are her, which makes sense because she has done that to others in the past that she felt burned her. Relevant. Comments OP on the BF's reactions to the truth, and if she has heard from him yet, reply, I do not, but I may hear from our friend group at some point. He's a pretty level-headed guy. I could tell from his tone he was more hurt than anything, maybe a smidge of anger. So tough telling what will happen. I'll report back if I hear. One of our mutual friends called me last night after she spoke to the cheater, so I have an update. They have agreed to split. I guess this had been an issue from early in their relationship. She cheated about 1 year in, so it was the final straw for him. They will split custody, and she will be moving out in the next 2 months when her finances allow. Downvoted commenter. I have a hard time believing that your motives are as pure as you say. If you knew about her harassing people in the past, and were fine staying friends with her. Reply, fair to question. She would always put our friends' ex's numbers into insurance quote or posts on Craigslist with their numbers. Hey, it never seemed concerning to me because it's an annoyance but not threatening in any way. TBH, I kinda think it's laughable. I wouldn't be saying that if she was threatening people, but I don't mind an insurance quote LOL. If you don't think I'm pure, I'm okay with that. Commenter 1. I wholeheartedly disagree. By all means, distance yourself from the two of them if you are uncomfortable hanging around them with that knowledge. But that's her relationship. It's her life, and I really believe you were making this whole situation about you, about your morals, about what you're comfortable with. You honestly don't have a crystal ball, and you can't know what outcome is the best. Especially with men, you don't know how they'll react to these kinds of things. You could have put her and her kid's life in danger by irresponsibly laying that truth bomb on someone. I grew up in a broken home from cheating, and I've seen great people slip and make mistakes. Sometimes people make promises they can't keep. It's painful, but I'd never dream of inserting myself into that drama. The truth always comes out, and it comes out at the right time. Reply, I do think it's worth addressing her safety after sharing what she did. I know her partner pretty well, and while I understand he could surprise me, I genuinely was never concerned about her safety. He's not an aggressive guy by any means, so this was and isn't a concern. Furthermore, she's a professional boxer, so she can also hold her own LOL. Commenter 2. Classic traits of a cheater. Placing blame in everyone but themselves. You were nice and told her to tell, she didn't. Her actions are the reason she's in her current predicament. Good for you. Commenter 3. NTA. Good job in exposing a cheater. Cheaters should be aware that there are consequences for cheating. Stories number 20. AIO for being mad feel betrayed, that I found out my fiancé 35 May was hiding his wealth from me and letting me pay for the majority of things. For context, I am 36F, and he is 36M. We just got engaged after 2 years of dating. He was in residency as a doctor when we first met, and I am a lawyer that does well financially. No debt, 400K plus invested, making 6 figures. While he was in residency, I paid for the majority of things because I was making a good salary, and his residency salary was extremely low. I did not want him stressing about money. He finally finished his residency and we got engaged. He now covers things at 60-40 spilt because he makes more money than me now salary-wise, but I still pay for a lot since he is just getting started in his career. He brought up a prenup recently, and during it disclosed he has had a trust fund that has over $1 million in it that he has had access to this whole time. I knew his family had some money since they paid for all his schooling, and I, on the other hand, did not have family money. I had to pay my way through all my schooling and take out a ton of students' loans that I paid on my own, but I assumed they just saved super well for his schooling. I just feel sort of used. When I asked why he did not mention the trust fund sooner, he stated he wanted to 100% make sure I was the one. I know I am not entitled to his money, but I found it odd that he would be so comfortable letting me pay for so much, knowing he had more money than me the entire time. I just now wonder what else he is not telling me. Am I overreacting? Comments. Commenter 1. While I normally don't think couples in the dating phase owe each other complete financial transparency, I do think he should have shared this information with you if he was living on your dime. He had 2 proper choices here as I see it. Reject your financial help and wait to disclose his wealth, or accept it, but reveal his wealth so your offer was made in a free and informed manner, nor because he took money from you. I'd leave him. I find the fact that the topic of the money only arose when he wanted to protect it from you to be pretty vile. I come from money. While I don't reveal that on early dates, I let partners know long before 2 years, and certainly before an engagement. I understand his not wanting to tell you immediately. There are plenty of people out there who want to date purely for money. I do not understand his feeling that he could trust you enough to consider marriage, but not enough to tell you the truth about his finances. Personally, even as someone who is usually the wealthier partner, and understands why this can be tricky, I'd dump this dude ASAP. Commenter 2. When he saw she was willing to financially help him out, he went along for the ride, without telling her he had $1 million stashed away. If he cared and respected her, he could have kept it secret and supported himself without her help. He could have said, "Yeah, it's hard, but I'm managing it. Don't worry about it." He could have, even on occasion, asked for a 20. Instead, he took her money. What if she wasn't the one? He not only withheld information, which is his right to do so, but also used her as his savings strategy, without her knowledge. Pretty selfish and duplicitous. The OP should reconsider this alliance because it's not about the money. It's about the dishonesty and opportunistic approach from him. Can he make it up by now repaying her or contributing 80-20? The OP needs to decide if this is the person she can trust, believe and rely on in her future life. Commenter 3. My fiancé and I have been together a decade. We've both been in positions during that time where one of us would take on more of the financial responsibilities. It's part of what makes us a good team. We work together and we support one another. The ick for me here is when your fiancé whips out a prenup so he can protect his assets from you after you supported him for so long. That's not what a team does. He's being a selfish jackass who seemingly only cares about money when it's his. I'd be seriously reconsidering this relationship. He was okay taking your money, but he's oh so scared of you taking his. What a worm. Nor. Commenter 4. Ask for what you paid for him over the past 2 years to be paid back to you. Outro. Only then will you sign the prenuptial. The issue isn't really him not telling you about the money. I understand that. The issue is him allowing you to pay more than your share. He should have insisted on paying his share the whole time. This behavior is leechy. There is zero excuse for accepting that money from you. He could have just said I'm more comfortable paying my share. I'd have a lot of trouble with this issue. Engagement off. Need time to wrap the head around it and to see if he can come to understand he did wrong taking your money. Stories number 21. Aita for laughing at my grandma after my grandpa proved her wrong. So this all started over a lawnmower of all things. My grandparents have been married forever, like literally over 50 years. And they are the definition of opposites. My grandma is practical to the point of being stingy. She doesn't buy anything unless it's absolutely necessary. My grandpa, on the other hand, loves gadgets. If something has wheels, a motor, or even a dumb little feature, he'll find a way to justify needing it. For years they've gone back and forth over stuff like this. My grandma, "You'll never use it." My grandpa, "Just watch me." And then usually, it sits in the garage gathering dust while my grandma grumbles every time she sees it. This time, though, things went differently. Grandpa told her he wanted to buy a riding lawnmower. Now let me be clear. Their yard is not big. It's not farmland. You can mow it with a push mower in under an hour. Grandpa's been doing that since forever. So when he announced this grand purchase, my grandma lost it. She told him, straight to his face. "You'll never use it. It'll sit in the garage like the treadmill, like the kayak, like that stupid bread maker you swore would save us money." And my grandpa, God love him, doubled down. He told her he'd use it so much she'd regret mocking him. Then he said the most dangerous line a man can say to my grandma. "Wanna bet?" She smirked and said, "Fine. I bet you won't use it more than twice. Prove me wrong." Fast forward a week, the mower arrives. Bright red, shiny like a car commercial. Grandpa is obsessed. He names it Betsy. Yes, like a pet. And here's the thing. He does mow the lawn. Not once, not twice, but constantly. I swear he started mowing twice a week just to rub it in her face. He even started mowing the neighbor's yard. Then another neighbor's. It turned into a whole thing. But it didn't stop there. Because apparently, for Grandpa, this wasn't just a mower. This was his new mode of transportation. He used it to take the trash to the curb. He used it to get the mail. At one point, he literally tried to drive it through the McDonald's drive-thru. They actually served him. The employees were cracking up. My grandma nearly disowned him. The neighbors started talking. Some thought it was hilarious. Others, not so much. There was one lady, you know the type, the self-appointed HOA cop, who hated it. She came out yelling, one day while he was pulling my little cousins in a wagon attached to the mower. She called it dangerous and inappropriate. My grandpa looked her dead in the eye and said, "Ma'am, the top speed on this thing is 6 miles an hour. Your golf cart goes faster." She was not amused. She actually called the cops. And here's the kicker. When the police showed up, they basically laughed, told him it wasn't illegal, and asked if they could take a picture on it. My grandma was mortified. Now, weeks later, my grandpa is the unofficial neighborhood chauffeur. He mows people's lawns for free, gives kids rides, and uses the mower more than his actual car. Meanwhile, my grandma has to sit there every single time he revs it up, because he always looks at her and says, "Told you I'd use it." Nay, so, AITA for laughing every single time he does this? Because my grandma is fuming and thinks I'm encouraging his nonsense. But honestly, it's the happiest I've seen my grandpa in years. Update. Wow. I didn't expect my little rant about my grandparents' mower war to blow up, but I guess I should have known better. This has become a full-on family saga. Grandma escalates at first. Grandma just gave Grandpa the usual eye rolls and muttered comments when he'd pull out the mower. But after a couple more weeks of this nonsense, she snapped. She started keeping a little notebook where she literally wrote down the date and time every time he used it. At first I thought she was just doing it to complain later, but nope, she had a plan. One night at dinner, I was visiting because I live nearby, she pulled out this notebook and slammed it on the table. "Grandma, do you see this? Do you see this? Frank has mowed this lawn 7 times in the last month." Grandpa, grinning. "And doesn't it look gorgeous?" Grandma, "It looks bald. You're scalping the grass." Grandpa, "Healthy lawn maintenance requires dedication." Grandma, "No, it requires sanity. You've turned our front yard into a landing strip." She wasn't lying. The grass was so short I half expected planes to start touching down. The family gets involved. Here's where it really took off. My aunt, their daughter, my mom's sister, came over and got caught in the crossfire. She tried to be the reasonable mediator, which basically meant she took Grandma's side. "Aunt, Dad, this isn't sustainable. You're wasting gas, you're wearing down the mower, and you're making the neighborhood gossip." Grandpa, "They're gossiping because they're jealous. Look at these lines. They're perfectly straight." Aunt, "Nobody cares about your lines." Grandpa, "Wrong. Frank across the street complimented me just yesterday. Said it looked like a golf course." Grandma, "If you start charging admission, I'm moving out." Meanwhile, I was sitting there trying not to laugh into my mashed potatoes. Grandpa doubles down. Instead of backing off, Grandpa took it as a challenge. If people thought he was overusing the mower, he was going to show them just how versatile Betsy could be. He attached a snow shovel to the front and started plowing the driveway even though there wasn't more than a dusting of snow. He strapped bungee cords to the back and used it to haul bags of mulch. He drove it to the corner store, not far, but far enough that Grandma nearly had an aneurysm. Every single time, before he started it up, he'd look right at Grandma and say, "Logging another use. Honey." She looked like she was about 2 seconds from throwing the notebook at his head. The HOA drama, remember the neighbor Carol I mentioned? The wannabe HOA cop? Yeah, she was not done with this saga. She actually went door to door trying to get signatures on some petition to restrict lawnmower usage to private property. I'm not joking. The kicker? Hardly anyone signed. Half the neighbors think Grandpa is hilarious, and the other half secretly like when he mows their yards. A few even slip him $20 for it, so now Grandpa has this little fan club of neighborhood kids and lazy homeowners who cheer him on. He even started joking about getting a neon vest that says neighborhood groundskeeper. Grandma? Not amused. Grandma, "This is not funny. You're embarrassing me." Grandpa, "Embarrassment builds character." Grandma, "Then you must be overflowing with character." The breaking point okay, but here's the part where I stop just laughing and start worrying. Last week, Grandpa decided to attach Christmas lights to Betsy. Like, full-on wrapped the mower in twinkle lights and drove it down the street blasting carols from a Bluetooth speaker. On one hand, it was incredible. Neighbors were clapping, kids were chasing him. People were recording it on their phones. He looked like a one-man parade. On the other hand, Grandma was standing on the porch with her arms crossed, and I swear, if looks could kill, Grandpa would have been 6 feet under right there in the yard he'd scalped. After he parked Betsy in the garage, she told him flat out, "It's me or the mower, Frank," and he laughed. He laughed, which was the wrong move. She went silent, never a good sign, turned around, and went inside. Didn't say another word to him for the rest of the night. Where I'm at, so now I'm stuck. On one hand, I get why Grandma is furious. She feels like he's acting childish, wasting money and making her the butt of neighborhood jokes. On the other hand, Grandpa is genuinely happier than I've seen him in years. He's laughing, talking, out in the sun, joking with neighbors. It feels like this silly mower gave him a second wind. I don't want to take sides, but it's getting tense. Grandma keeps muttering about selling the mower on Craigslist when he's not looking. Grandpa keeps calling me his apprentice and asking if I want to learn how to operate heavy machinery. And I'm sitting here wondering, do I encourage him because it makes him happy? Or do I tell him to cut it out, pun intended, because it's clearly making Grandma miserable? I feel like either way I'm going to be the bad guy. Final update. So, remember when Grandma told Grandpa, "It's me or the mower"? Yeah. She wasn't bluffing. Grandma's revenge. About 3 days after that ultimatum, Grandpa went to visit a buddy from the VFW. He was gone maybe 4 hours. When he came back, Betsy was gone. Like, garage empty. No mower, no wagon, no little bungee cords. Just an oil stain on the concrete where she used to be. Grandpa came inside pale as a ghost and asked, "Where's Betsy?" Grandma didn't even look up from her crossword puzzle. She just said, "Gone." He blinked at her. "Gone where?" Her pen scratched across the paper. "Away." At this point, he started panicking. He checked the backyard, the shed, even called my uncle to ask if he'd borrowed it. Nothing. Finally, he stomped back into the kitchen, voice shaking. "Grandpa." "You sold her, didn't you?" Grandma. "I sure did." Grandpa. "For how much?" Grandma. "More than you deserved. I swear to you, I've never seen my grandpa look so betrayed." He muttered, "This is high treason," and stormed upstairs like a teenager who'd just had his Xbox taken away. The fallout. The house was basically silent for days. Grandpa refused to talk to Grandma except in one-word answers. Grandma, meanwhile, acted like nothing had happened. She cooked, cleaned, gardened, totally normal. Except every so often, she'd smirk to herself. My cousins and I were horrified. Not because of the mower itself, but because Grandpa had actually gotten attached to it. Like, emotionally attached. We all joked about it, but the man was genuinely grieving. He started pacing the garage like a widower. He'd mutter things like, "She was just getting broken in," or, "We had so many more lawns ahead of us." At one point, I caught him scrolling Craigslist like he was stalking an ex. It was bad. Grandpa's counterattack. But if you know my grandpa, you know he wasn't going to take this lying down. One Saturday morning, he gathered us grandkids in the driveway and said, "We're going on a mission." I asked what kind of mission. He said, "An extraction." Turns out he'd figured out who Grandma sold the mower to. A guy 3 neighborhoods over. How? Because she accidentally left the receipt in the junk drawer, and Grandpa found it. So what does he do? He drives us over there in his truck, and sure enough, there's Betsy sitting in the guy's driveway, looking freshly waxed. Grandpa got out, walked right up, and started running his hand along the hood like he was reuniting with a long-lost lover. The new owner came out looking super confused. Grandpa straight up told him, "Sir, I'm here for my girl." The guy laughed, thinking it was a joke. Grandpa did not laugh. Long story short, Grandpa offered to buy it back. The guy said no. He liked it. Grandpa offered double. The guy still said no. Grandpa looked like he was going to cry. We drove home in silence, and that night, he didn't even come down for dinner. The big blow-up. That was the breaking point. The next day, Grandma tried to talk to him, and all hell broke loose. Grandpa: "Do you know what you've done to me?" Grandma: "Saved you from yourself." Grandpa: "No, you destroyed the one good thing in my retirement." Grandma: "The one good thing? I'm your wife, Frank." Grandpa: "And you're supposed to love me, not sabotage me. They went back and forth like that for hours. It was brutal. My aunt cried. My uncle yelled at both of them to grow up, and I just sat there wishing I could disappear into the carpet. Finally, Grandpa said, "If you can't accept me as I am, maybe we shouldn't be living under the same roof." You could hear a pin drop. Grandma's face went red, but she didn't say a word. She just walked out of the room. The twist. Here's the part that floored everyone. The next morning, Grandpa was gone. His truck, too. No note, no phone call. Just gone. We were terrified. My aunt was calling hospitals. My uncle was driving around town. Grandma sat at the kitchen table, stone-faced. Hours later, Grandpa finally called. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't lost. He was at the damn dealership. And when he came back, he rolled into the driveway with a brand new, bigger, shinier riding mower on a trailer. This thing looked like a transformer. Cup holders, headlights, even a Bluetooth speaker system built in. Grandma nearly fainted. Grandpa, "Meet Betsy too?" 0. Grandma, "Frank, I will divorce you." Grandpa, "Then I'll have full custody of Betsy." I thought she was going to strangle him right there on the lawn, where things stand now. So here we are. Grandma hasn't spoken to him in 2 days. Grandpa spends all his time outside with Betsy 2-0, polishing her, tinkering with her, mowing lawns that don't even need mowing. The neighbors are eating this up. Carol, the HOA wannabe, is furious. The local kids think Grandpa is a legend. My aunt is threatening to put both of them in a retirement home if they don't act their age. And me? I don't even know anymore. On the one hand, this is hilarious. On the other hand, my grandparents' marriage is hanging by a thread over a freaking lawnmower. So, what do I do? Do I step in? Do I stay out of it? Do I start charging admission for people to come watch the chaos? Because right now, Grandma is dead serious about divorce court. Grandpa is dead serious about lawn stripes. And I'm dead serious when I say, this might be the dumbest hill 2 people have ever chosen to die on. Stories number 22. Mean HR Lady's Comeuppance. In 1995-1997, I worked as an HR manager. It was a good job in a generally kind corporate culture, and my focus in the job was to work for our employees, not try to police them. Once I knew I was leaving, I gave plenty of notice to train my successor. The company brought in a new HR director. I told her about good fun things we did for employees. For example, we gave everyone a turkey and $100 at Thanksgiving, etc. Another thing was that our managers liked to celebrate Secretary's Day, as it was called then. People enjoyed recognizing their aides' hard work, gave them at least a card with a check in it, flowers, gift cards, took them out to lunch, etc. It was a long hours company and aides gave of themselves for it. Well, this new lady, one of her first acts, banning Secretary's Day company-wide. BC in her reasoning, what if one boss forgot? The neglected aide would feel bad and possibly try to bring legal action. I swear to God. I had no say in hiring her. By the way, other company-wide customs followed on the chopping block. After I left, people told me that the new lady seemed to take an unhealthy pleasure in firing people. In one case, new lady had been building a case against one woman for evidently personal reasons. Fired this woman in front of her kids, take your kids to work day, with no prior notice, and had them all escorted out to their car. We'd never done that escorting thing in the past. We didn't even have security guards, so she told the mailroom guys to do it. They were apologizing all the way while the kids were crying. When I was there, if someone needed to be let go, I would give them career counseling, help edit their resume, suggest job openings elsewhere. The contrast was stark. So, when new lady was fired within the first year, the company took their cue from her. No notice, no references, escort to car, all other employees watching and some of them clapping. Not a totally symmetrical comeuppance, but a good start, and word got around. Nobody in town wanted to hire her. Edit. I don't know how she imagined she could enforce against people celebrating their aides' work, but the intention was just so wrong. Stories number 23. Bridesmaid hacked my bridal photographer for professional headshots. So buckle up. This is messy, long, and I'm still somewhere between shocked, embarrassed, and furious. I, 28F, got married a few months ago. The day was beautiful. emotional, chaotic. The usual. I had 6 bridesmaids, including my younger cousin Sophie, 25F. We've always been close, and while she can be a little self-centered, I never thought she'd seriously cross a line. Spoiler, she crossed several. Let me back up. The photographer. One of the biggest things I cared about for my wedding was the photos. I'm not a bridezilla, but if you spend thousands on a dress, flowers, venue, and hair makeup, you want them captured well. I researched photographers for months before finding Emily. Emily is one of those photographers who's an actual artist. Every photo looks like it belongs in a magazine. She wasn't cheap, but I made it work. I signed a contract with her, paid a deposit, and she was wonderful during planning. Professional, sweet, communicative. On the day of the wedding, she was basically my rock. She wrangled my chaotic family for group shots, made me laugh when I was about to cry, and even helped bustle my dress. She was worth every penny. I was already buzzing with excitement to see the photos. She said turnaround would be about 8 weeks, which is standard. Sophie, the bridesmaid. Now let's talk about Sophie. She's my cousin, but she's also, how do I put this politely? She's a little obsessed with herself. She posts selfies constantly, changes her profile picture every week, and always manages to make events about her. Like at my bridal shower, she wore a white sundress and told everyone it was a joke. At my bachelorette party, she kept making TikToks of herself instead of hanging out with the group. I rolled my eyes, but whatever. That's just Sophie. At the wedding, Sophie looked gorgeous. All my bridesmaids did. But she was very into posing. She'd keep sneaking into the background of shots, asking Emily for just one more picture of me and the bouquet, or, wait, can we do a solo shot by the arch? Emily, being polite, obliged a few times, but I could tell she was trying to stay on schedule. I didn't think much of it. I was busy getting married. The photos arrive. Sort of. About 6 weeks after the wedding, I get a text from Sophie. OMG, have you gotten your photos yet? Emily is amazing. Like these might be my favorite photos of myself ever. I was confused. I hadn't gotten anything yet. Emily had said 8 weeks minimum, and she'd told me she'd send me a preview gallery first. So how did Sophie have them? I asked. Wait, you've seen the photos? She sent me like 10 professional quality pictures of herself. Solo shots, headshots, even one where she was sitting on a bench looking model-ready. They weren't screenshots. They were the full high-res files, with Emily's editing style all over them. I was floored. I asked her point blank, how did you get these? Emily hasn't even sent me the gallery yet. Her reply? Oh lol, I might have hacked it, but don't worry, I didn't mess with anything. I just wanted some of my headshots for my LinkedIn and Insta. You'll get yours soon. I swear, my blood pressure spiked so fast I thought I'd pass out. What she actually did. I called Emily immediately. She was confused and then horrified. Turns out, Sophie had somehow guessed the login for Emily's client gallery system. It wasn't super secure. Apparently it was just an email and a PIN Emily generates. Sophie admitted later. She kept trying until she cracked it, since she knew roughly when Emily would upload my gallery. Not only did she access my gallery before I even saw it, but she downloaded over 40 pictures of just herself. She ignored the shots of me, my husband, the ceremony, family portraits. She only downloaded her own photos. Emily was upset, rightfully so. She told me this was a breach of contract because galleries are password protected and meant only for the client, me. She was also worried Sophie might have tampered with things, though Sophie swore she didn't. I was humiliated. I had to beg Emily not to blacklist me because of my cousin's actions. Emily was gracious and professional, but she made it clear she takes this seriously. The fallout. When I confronted Sophie, she acted like I was overreacting. She said, "It's not like I leaked your dress photos early or anything. I just wanted some good pictures." Chill. I told her it wasn't about that. It was about violating privacy, crossing boundaries and disrespecting me and Emily. She laughed and said, "Boundaries are fake when it's family. Besides, I looked bomb. You should be happy your bridesmaids look so good in your album." I wanted to scream. My mom thinks Sophie was selfish but harmless. My husband thinks we should cut her off entirely. My aunt, Sophie's Mom says Sophie is just ambitious and networking. Like, how is hacking a wedding photographer networking? And here's the kicker. Sophie is now using those headshots on all her social media and LinkedIn. She even posted one with the caption, "New chapter, new me so grateful for opportunities." Not a single mention of, the fact they were my wedding photos. Where I'm at, I still don't know what to do. Part of me wants to blast her publicly because she's basking in compliments on those photos like she earned them. Another part of me is just exhausted and embarrassed. I've told Emily I'll pay for extra security on the gallery if needed. She was understanding but firm. She expects her clients' guests to respect her work. And Sophie? She keeps texting me like nothing happened. Sending memes, asking if I want to grab brunch, acting like we didn't just go through this nuclear fight. Every time I see her new profile picture, my wedding day, with the arch and flowers in the blurred background, I want to throw my phone across the room. So, Reddit, am I crazy for thinking this isn't just selfish cousin being selfish? This feels like a huge violation. But everyone in my family is brushing it off like it's no big deal. Would I be insane to actually tell her to take the photos down? Or even send a DMCA on her behalf for Emily's sake? Because right now, all I can think is, who hacks their cousin's wedding photos for LinkedIn headshots? Update. Hi again, everyone. I didn't expect my original post to blow up the way it did. I honestly thought maybe a handful of people would call Sophie annoying and move on. Instead, I got hundreds of comments calling out how big of a violation this was, and that really helped me realize I wasn't just being sensitive. I read a ton of your advice, and I wanted to give an update because, well, things escalated. A lot. Step 1. Talking to Emily, the photographer. The first thing I did after posting was reach back out to Emily, because so many of you mentioned that she was the one whose intellectual property was compromised. And yeah, you were right. When I explained how Sophie was still using the photos for LinkedIn and Instagram, Emily was livid. She said she'd never had a client's guest pull something like this before, and she was worried it would set a precedent. She told me straight up, if she doesn't take those photos down, I'll have to issue a formal takedown notice. It's not just about you, it's about my business and brand. Hearing that made me feel sick, because I realized Sophie had put me in the position of potentially burning a bridge with someone I trusted. I apologized again and promised I'd handle it. Step 2. Confronting Sophie. Again. So, I called Sophie. I was nervous, but I tried to keep my tone calm. I said, "Look, I know you don't think this is a big deal, but Emily considers it theft. You need to take those photos down." She laughed. Like actually laughed at me. "Oh my God, you're so dramatic. They're literally just pictures of me." "What? Am I supposed to pretend I don't look good?" "I'm not deleting them." I reminded her that she had hacked the gallery to get them. She rolled her eyes. Yes, I could hear her rolling them through the phone, and said, "Stop saying hacked. That makes me sound like a criminal." "I just guessed the code. You should be grateful I didn't leak your bridal portraits early." At that point, I realized there was no reasoning with her. I told her if she didn't take them down, Emily would file DMCA takedowns herself. Sophie snapped back. "If she does that, I'll just tell everyone she's petty and unprofessional. Who cares if I use a couple pictures? Free advertising for her, honestly." That's when I lost it. I said, "No, Sophie. It's not free advertising when you stole them. And you're embarrassing me and the whole family by acting like this is fine." She hung up on me. Step 3. The family drama. Oh, boy. If you've ever had wedding drama, you know it never stays between just two people. Word got around fast. My aunt, Sophie's mom, called me to say I was bullying Sophie and making her feel bad. She said Sophie was just trying to launch her career, and that I should be proud she looked so professional in the wedding pictures. My mom took my side but begged me not to start a war with family. My husband was ready to go nuclear. He even offered to message Sophie directly and demand she take the photos down. But I told him no. Then my uncle, Sophie's dad, texted me privately to say he was embarrassed by her behavior and that I had every right to be angry. He also warned me that Sophie has a tendency to dig in when she's confronted, so I should expect her to get more stubborn before she gives in. He was right. Step 4. The fallout online. Remember how Sophie was using those headshots for LinkedIn? Well, apparently she applied for several jobs with them. One of my friends, who works in HR, ironically, sent me a screenshot of Sophie's profile where she captioned one photo. Thrilled to share these professional headshots. Courtesy of my cousin's wedding photographer. So not only was she using stolen photos, she was dragging Emily's name into it. Without permission. As if it were a collab. That was the final straw for Emily. She told me she was filing formal takedowns on every platform Sophie used the photos on. Step 5. Sophie's meltdown. When the takedowns started hitting, Sophie exploded. She called me sobbing, screaming and accusing me of ruining her life. She said I'd embarrassed her in front of potential employers and that I was jealous she looked better than me in my own wedding photos. I almost dropped the phone when she said that. Jealous? At my own wedding? Of a cousin who hacked my gallery? The audacity. She then texted the whole family a long rant about how I'd weaponized a photographer against her and how it wasn't her fault she was too photogenic to ignore. Half the family thought it was hilarious. The other half, well, let's just say Christmas this year is going to be awkward. Step 6. The fallout with Sophie. So where are we now? Sophie's LinkedIn still has a blurry selfie as her profile picture. Emily successfully got the stolen headshots removed. My relationship with Sophie is basically scorched earth. We're not speaking. My aunt thinks I ruined Sophie's career opportunities. My uncle quietly told me he's relieved someone finally put Sophie in her place. My husband keeps joking that Sophie should have just hired a $50 mall photographer if she wanted headshots that badly. As for me, I'm exhausted. This was supposed to be the happiest season of my life, but instead, I feel like my wedding will always be tied to this ridiculous drama. The part that still gets me. You know what eats at me the most? It's not even the hacking. It's not the stolen photos. It's not the family drama. It's the fact that Sophie has zero remorse. None. Not once has she apologized. Not once has she admitted it was wrong. In her head, she's the victim. The poor cousin who just wanted a cute LinkedIn photo and got attacked for it. I keep asking myself, is this someone I even want in my life anymore? Because right now, the answer feels like no. So that's where we're at. I don't know if this counts as justice, but at least Emily's work is protected, and Sophie didn't win. Still, part of me wonders if this is just the beginning. Because if Sophie could pull something like this over photos, what happens next time? Final update. Hi again, everyone. It's been a while since my last post and I wasn't even sure I'd come back, but a lot of you asked for closure. Plus, things got even more ridiculous after the takedowns, and honestly I kind of need to vent it all out. So, here's the end of the saga of my cousin Sophie versus my wedding photos. Sophie's fallout. The DMCA takedowns stuck. Every time Sophie tried to re-upload one of the stolen headshots, it got pulled down within 24 hours. She was furious. She called me multiple times crying, yelling, bargaining, you name it. At one point she even said, "Just tell Emily to put my name on the copyright and it'll all go away." I had to explain, again, that it doesn't work that way. That's not how intellectual property law works, and Emily wasn't going to hand over rights to someone who literally broke into her gallery system. Sophie didn't care. She just wanted those pictures back. When it became clear she wasn't going to win this fight, she started, well, spiraling. She posted a rant on Facebook about how toxic family can ruin your career and how she was sabotaged for being beautiful. She didn't name me, but it was obvious who she was talking about. A few of her friends chimed in with sympathy. Most people ignored it. Then came the kicker. She went on LinkedIn and made a post claiming she had been cyberbullied by a wedding vendor. She even tagged Emily's business page. That backfired spectacularly. Emily responded with a calm, professional comment that basically said, "For legal reasons I cannot share details, but I can confirm that no cyberbullying occurred." Unauthorized use of copyrighted material was the issue. I stand by my work and my contracts. Emily's clients and colleagues flooded the comments defending her. Sophie deleted the post within hours. Family reactions. Remember how my aunt, Sophie's mom, Thought I was overreacting? Yeah, she doubled down. She told everyone at Sunday dinner that Sophie was being punished for ambition and that I had turned a small mistake into a family scandal. My uncle, her dad, straight up, told her to knock it off. He said, "This isn't ambition, it's theft. You're enabling her." That caused a shouting match between them, and now they're barely speaking. My mom has stayed neutral-ish but keeps telling me not to feel guilty. My husband has no filter and has started calling Sophie the LinkedIn bandit, which, admittedly, is funny but also fuels more drama. Christmas this year is officially being split between houses because no one wants to be in the same room, Emily and me. This part actually has a happy ending. I was terrified Emily would blacklist me forever, but she didn't. In fact, after everything blew up, she thanked me for being upfront and cooperative. She said, "I've dealt with nightmare clients before, but you weren't one of them. You respected my work. That's what matters." She even gave me a discount on prints as a goodwill gesture. I refused at first, but she insisted. We're on great terms, and I've been recommending her to everyone. And the photos? Absolutely stunning. Worth every penny and then some. I cried when I saw them, in the good way this time. Sophie's consequences. Here's where it gets kind of karmic. Remember how Sophie was using those headshots to apply for jobs? Well, apparently some recruiters noticed the takedowns. One even reached out to her for clarification. And she, being Sophie, tried to spin it as jealous family drama. They didn't buy it. She's been unemployed since before my wedding, and as of now, she still hasn't landed anything. My uncle hinted that a couple of companies even blacklisted her after realizing she had a reputation for being difficult. Meanwhile, she's back to posting blurry selfies with motivational quotes as captions. The contrast between her stolen glamour shots and her current stuff is kind of painful. Where we stand now, Sophie and I are not speaking. At all. She's unfollowed me on everything, and honestly, it's a relief. My aunt is still salty, but she's running out of steam because most of the family sided with me after Sophie's public meltdowns. My uncle has apologized multiple times on Sophie's behalf, which I appreciate, though I don't think it's his job to fix her mess. Do I miss Sophie? In some ways, yes. We grew up close, and it sucks to lose that, but I can't trust her anymore. The fact that she never once apologized, not to me, not to Emily, says everything. As for me and my husband, we're finally enjoying being newlyweds without constant drama. We even joked about getting professional headshots done together just to troll Sophie, but decided against it. My final thoughts. When I first posted here, I wondered if I was overreacting. Now, not even close. Sophie didn't just grab a few pictures. She broke into a system, disrespected me and my photographer, refused to take accountability, and tried to spin the narrative to make herself the victim. That's not ambition. That's entitlement. And honestly, the weirdest part of all of this is how little she seemed to care about my wedding. It wasn't about celebrating love or family. It was just about getting her own photos. It's like she didn't even see the bigger picture, no pun intended. So yeah, that's where we are. Sophie torched our relationship over some headshots, and I'm finally at peace with cutting ties. If she ever grows up and apologizes, maybe we can revisit things. But until then, she can keep her blurry selfies, and Emily can keep being the absolute queen she is. Thanks to everyone who validated me and gave advice. You guys helped me stand my ground when my family was gaslighting me into thinking it was no big deal, because it was a big deal, and now Sophie knows it too. Stories number 24. Why in the world can I not give my veteran employee a raise to make their salary $70K, but I can fire them and hire a new person for the role and pay them $75K? How do this make sense? Compensation and payroll. Okay, I'm real mad. And you guys aren't my hour, so I apologize. If it feels directed to you, we recently had to relocate. My then manager fought so hard to keep the team. Salaries were $55K and old. Location. The movement package included a raise of salary to $56,500 woo. The new headquarters is almost double the average rent of where we were, so that didn't make sense. Our entire team did market research and realized in order to hire in the new market, we need to pay $70K for this role. We all collectively Bargained with HR. They said, no, we cannot increase your salary over X%. We'd rather hire new people. No one moved. It's only me. Over 60% of my staff quit on the spot. And we've hemorrhaged more. My department can't function. We're a critical operation. The company has probably lost tens of millions due to our work not being efficient anymore. I now have an entire department that is not staffed and critical. We are hemorrhaging money due to faulty operation. I now have to train over 25 new people, which is extremely expensive. The kicker? My old staff asked for $70K. They're now paying new hires $75K. We just signed a guy with less experience than anyone on my old team for $83K. WTF. Why are we stepping over a briefcase of $1 million to pick up a penny? Make it make sense, please. Stories number 25. My sister has cancer and her husband left her. I don't feel sorry for her. Throwaway because my family knows my main. This is going to be long, messy, and probably make me sound like the worst person alive. But I need to get it out, because I've been holding this inside for weeks and it's eating me up. My sister, let's call her Erin, 35F, has been diagnosed with cancer. Stage 3, possibly stage 4, they're still running tests. It's bad. She started chemo, she's weak, she's lost her hair, and she looks like a shadow of the person she used to be. Her husband, 36M, left her right after the diagnosis. Packed a bag, moved in with some co-worker or friend, and hasn't looked back. Everyone in my family is devastated. My mom cries every day. My dad keeps talking about miracle recoveries, and our cousins have set up GoFundMes and meal trains. Everyone keeps saying things like, "Poor Erin, she doesn't deserve this." Poor Erin, she's suffering so much. Poor Erin, her husband abandoned her in her time of need. And me, I don't feel sorry for her. Not one bit. The backstory. To understand why, I need to rewind. I, 32F, am Erin's younger sister. Growing up, Erin was the golden child. She was smart, pretty, popular, athletic, the whole package. I was the quiet, awkward one. She got straight A's, cheer captain, homecoming queen. I was the weird band kid who read too much and had like 2 friends. Our parents adored her. Every achievement was bragged about to everyone we knew. Meanwhile, when I brought home an A, it was, well, Erin got an A+. When I made the honor roll, it was, oh, that's nice, but Erin's valedictorian. I was never enough. Erin knew it, too. She wasn't just passively favored, she leaned into it. She lorded it over me every chance she got. She'd say things like, "Don't worry, not everyone can be the pretty one. Maybe you'll find your thing someday, but I'm just good at everything. You're lucky I'm your sister. People are nicer to you because of me." That wasn't just teenage stuff either. It continued well into adulthood. Erin, the perfect adult. After high school, Erin got into her dream college with scholarships. I went to a state school and worked 2 jobs to afford it. Erin studied abroad in Europe. I was working nights at Starbucks. Erin graduated with honors and immediately landed a corporate job in marketing. I scrambled through internships and temp jobs, and the whole time, she kept up her perfect life narrative. When she got engaged, she made a big deal about how, of course, she'd be the first to get married. She made comments like, "Don't feel bad, some people just aren't wife material yet." At her wedding, she actually joked during her toast that I'd probably be the fun aunt forever. Everyone laughed. I smiled through it, but inside I wanted to crawl into the floor. Her husband, let's call him Mark, was charming, successful, and came from money. They bought a big house, had 2 kids, drove nice cars. On the outside, they were the picture-perfect family. Erin made sure everyone knew it, too. Social media posts about vacations, anniversaries, their dream life. Meanwhile, I was renting a 1-bedroom apartment and driving a car that broke down twice a year, the cruelty. But it wasn't just showing off. Erin went out of her way to remind me of my place. When I got a promotion at work, she said, "That's cute, but do you even make half of what Mark makes?" When I finally started dating seriously, she said, "Careful, you don't want to scare him off with your baggage." My baggage being my student loans and the fact that I don't look like a model. She criticized my clothes, my weight, my apartment, even the food I brought to family potlucks. Nothing I did was ever good enough. The worst was when I had a miscarriage a few years ago. I'd gotten pregnant with my boyfriend, now fiancé, and we were over the moon. When I lost the baby, I was devastated. Erin's response, "Well, maybe it's for the best. You weren't really ready to be a mom anyway." I will never forget those words. Never. Cracks in the perfect life. A couple years ago, rumors started floating that Erin and Mark's marriage wasn't as perfect as it looked. Mark was traveling a lot for work. Erin seemed stressed all the time, and I overheard my mom whispering about money problems. Erin brushed it off. Of course. She said they were stronger than ever, and anyone who thought otherwise was jealous. Then, last year, Mark was caught having an emotional affair with a co-worker. Erin went into full crisis mode. She cried to the family about betrayal, about how she didn't deserve it, about how she'd given him everything. And yes, cheating is awful, but part of me couldn't help thinking, karma. Because Erin had spent her whole life tearing other people down, building this image of herself as untouchable. And now her shiny life was cracking. The diagnosis. Fast forward to now. Erin started feeling sick earlier this year. Tired, nauseous, losing weight. She thought it was stress. Then the diagnosis came. Cancer. Everything stopped. Our family went into shock. My mom has been practically living at Erin's house to help with the kids. My dad drives her to appointments. Cousins and friends are bringing meals. Everyone is rallying around her. And then Mark left. 2 weeks after the official diagnosis, he packed a bag and said he couldn't handle it. He didn't even try to sugarcoat it. He just left. The family was horrified. Erin sobbed, saying she never thought he'd abandon her when she needed him most. Everyone rallied even harder. The narrative became, poor Erin. She has cancer. Her husband betrayed her. Her life is falling apart. And me? I felt nothing. Why I don't feel sorry for her. Here's the thing. Objectively, what Erin is going through is awful. Cancer is cruel. Being abandoned is cruel. Losing your hair, your strength, your sense of control. It's heartbreaking. But I can't feel sorry for her. Because my entire life, Erin has never felt sorry for me. When I was struggling financially, she mocked me. When I lost my baby, she dismissed me. When I was depressed and gained weight, she said I let myself go. Why should I suddenly forget all that? Just because now she's the one suffering. And maybe this makes me a monster. But there's a part of me that thinks she's finally facing consequences. Not for deserving cancer, no one deserves that, but for how she's treated people. She pushed everyone away with her cruelty, and now she's shocked that some of us don't have the energy to coddle her. The family's reaction to me, here's where it gets complicated. I've been helping in small ways, dropping off groceries, babysitting the kids when needed. But I'm not emotionally invested. I don't cry over Erin. I don't sit by her bed holding her hand. I don't post long, sappy tributes on Facebook like my cousins do, my mom noticed. She pulled me aside and asked why I was being cold. I tried to brush it off, but she kept pressing, so finally I said, because Erin has never been kind to me. Not once. Why should I pour my heart out now? My mom gasped like I'd slapped her. She said I was holding a grudge, and that family sticks together no matter what. She told me Erin needs me and I'm failing as a sister. Now half my family thinks I'm heartless. My aunt literally called me cruel for not crying at Erin's chemo appointment, but here's the truth. I don't have tears for Erin. I used them all up years ago when she made me feel worthless. Where I'm at. So now I'm sitting here, watching my sister fight for her life, watching her husband move on without a care in the world, watching my family rally around her like she's a saint. And I feel nothing. Not joy, not sorrow, not pity. Just nothing. And that nothingness makes me feel guilty. Because shouldn't I feel something? Shouldn't I want to comfort her even if she was awful to me? Isn't that what being the bigger person means? But I can't. I can't fake sympathy for someone who never showed me an ounce of it. So yeah, my sister has cancer, her husband left her, and I don't feel sorry for her. Maybe that makes me the worst person alive. But at least it's the truth. Update. My sister has cancer and her husband left her. I don't feel sorry for her. high again. I didn't expect to come back, but a lot has happened since I wrote my original post, and I need to get it off my chest. To be honest, I almost deleted my original post because rereading it made me feel like a monster. But the responses I got were eye-opening. Some people agreed with me. Some told me I was heartless. But the ones that stuck with me were the comments saying, "You don't have to martyr yourself for someone who abused you." That gave me permission to sit with my feelings instead of shoving them down. And wow, things have escalated. Erin's condition. First, about Erin. The cancer is real and it's aggressive. She's already had multiple rounds of chemo. She's nauseous, weak and bedridden more often than not. Her hair's gone, she's lost weight, and she doesn't look like the perfect Erin I grew up with. I wish I could say that seeing her like this broke something open in me, and I suddenly found compassion. But it didn't. When I visit, I bring food, I watch her kids, I make small talk. But I feel like a stranger in the room. I don't see my sister. I see a woman who made my life hell, now asking for sympathy she never once gave me. And the worst part? She hasn't changed. The same old Erin. You'd think cancer might humble someone. Not Erin. When people come to visit, she soaks up the attention. She brags about how many people are supporting her, how much money the GoFundMe has raised, how brave everyone says she is. And she still can't resist taking digs at me. The last time I brought groceries, she looked me up and down and said, "Wow, you finally lost some weight. I guess stress does that to you, huh?" When I offered to help with her laundry, she smirked and said, "That's sweet, but you've never been domestic. I'll just wait for Mom." She even had the nerve to say, in front of my fiancé, "It's funny how you're engaged now. I honestly thought you'd be single forever." This is a woman with cancer. A woman abandoned by her husband. And yet, she still finds the time and energy to tear me down. So no, I don't feel sorry for her. If anything, it hardens my resolve. Mark, the absent husband. Now, about Mark, her husband. He's gone full ghost. He shows up every couple of weeks to take the kids for a night or two, but otherwise, radio silence. At first everyone was furious. My mom called him a coward. My dad threatened to have a talk with him. My cousins called him trash. But slowly, people have stopped blaming him. Why? Because Erin talks about him non-stop. And not in a "he's awful" way. In a "please pity me, my husband abandoned me" way. It's like she needs that angle to fuel her martyr complex. I actually overheard one of my cousins whisper, "Honestly, I can't blame Mark. Erin's exhausting, even when she's healthy." That's when I realized, it's not just me. Other people are seeing what I've seen for years, family pressure. But here's the kicker. Because I'm not falling apart with grief over Erin, I'm the villain. My mom sat me down and told me I was cold and selfish. She said, "You need to let go of the past. She's dying. Do you want your last memory of your sister to be bitterness?" I snapped. I told her I tried to have a relationship with Erin my whole life, and Erin never wanted one. I told her Erin made me feel like garbage, and cancer doesn't erase decades of cruelty. My mom cried. She said she failed as a mother because her daughters hate each other. And now, my family walks on eggshells around me. Half of them treat me like I'm heartless. The other half privately admit they get it, but they'll never say so out loud. Erin's kids. This is the one part that really breaks me. Erin's kids, 9 and 7, are caught in the middle. They're scared, they miss their dad, and they don't fully understand what's happening. And they love me. When I babysit, they cling to me. They ask me hard questions like, "Is Mommy going to die? Why doesn't Daddy live here anymore? Will you still come over if Mommy's gone?" I answer as gently as I can, but it guts me. Because as much as I don't care about Erin, I do care about those kids. And they don't deserve any of this. Part of me worries that if Erin dies, I'll end up taking on more responsibility for them. And I don't know if I'm ready for that. The breaking point. The real breaking point came last week. Erin was having a good day and the family gathered for dinner at her house. Everyone was talking about old memories, trying to keep the mood light. Then Erin, out of nowhere, said, "Remember when OP tried out for cheerleading and didn't make it?" She cried for days. I had to tell her some people just aren't cut out for the spotlight. Everyone laughed nervously. My dad told her that wasn't a nice story. but Erin just shrugged and said, "What? It's funny." She was so desperate to be like me. I sat there, in my 30s, engaged, with a stable job, listening to my sister with cancer still mocking me for something from high school. That was it. I stood up, said I wasn't doing this anymore, and left. Later that night, my mom texted me saying I was heartless for walking out. Erin posted a vague Facebook status about toxic people who can't handle seeing others shine even in dark times. And my aunt called to scold me for abandoning my sister. I'm done. Where I am now, so here's where I'm at. Erin is sick and suffering, but still cruel. Mark is gone, but honestly, I understand why. My family thinks I'm cold, but I refuse to fake sympathy I don't feel. The only ones I truly care about in this mess are Erin's kids, and I feel stuck because everyone expects me to play the role of supportive sister. They want me to cry, hold hands, post on Facebook, say how unfair it all is, but I can't. I won't. Maybe that makes me a terrible person. But for once in my life, I'm choosing myself. Final update. My sister has cancer, and her husband left her. I don't feel sorry for her. It's been months since I posted last, and everything has changed. I wasn't sure if I should come back, but a lot of you asked for closure, and honestly, I think I need to write this down to process it. Erin's decline. Erin's cancer progressed faster than anyone expected. The treatment stopped working, and within a few months, she was in hospice care. The good days became fewer and fewer until there really weren't any. I kept visiting, mostly for her kids, but also because part of me wondered if maybe, just maybe, we'd have some kind of breakthrough moment before the end. You know, like in the movies, where the dying sibling softens, apologizes, and you cry together. That never happened. Even in hospice, Erin still managed to be Erin. She complained constantly not just about her pain, but about the attention other people got. She snapped at nurses, rolled her eyes at visitors, and even made one last dig at me. At least people will remember me. You'll never be this important. Those were some of her final words to me. And here's the thing. I didn't cry. I didn't break down. I just nodded, left her room, and went to play with her kids. The end. Erin passed away 2 weeks later, peacefully, in her sleep, surrounded by my mom, dad, and a few cousins. I wasn't there. I was at work when the call came. The funeral was huge. Tons of people showed up, posting about how Erin was an angel on earth, and the bravest woman they'd ever known. My mom gave a eulogy that painted Erin as perfect, selfless, kind. I sat there listening, biting my tongue, feeling like I was at the funeral of a stranger. I didn't speak. I didn't post on Facebook. I didn't pretend. And of course, that made me the villain. Mark showed up at the funeral looking uncomfortable and out of place. He didn't speak either. Afterward, he quietly slipped out. A few weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that he officially moved in with the coworker he'd been seeing. People still mutter about how he's trash for abandoning Erin, but honestly, I don't have the energy to hate him. Erin wasn't easy to live with when she was healthy, and I can't imagine what it was like when she got sick. Do I think he should have stayed for the kids? Yes. Do I think he's a monster for leaving Erin? No. The kids, this is where my heart breaks. The kids are devastated. They don't fully understand, but they know mommy is gone and daddy doesn't live with them. My parents have stepped up a lot, but they're older and exhausted, and the kids keep clinging to me. They call me when they're scared. They ask me to come to school events. They ask if I'll always be there. I promised them I would, and I mean it. Even though I couldn't be the sister Erin wanted, maybe I can be the aunt her kids need. The family fallout, my family, is complicated. My mom is grieving hard and has doubled down on the Erin was perfect narrative. She refuses to hear anything that contradicts it. If I even hint at how Erin treated me, she shuts it down. My dad, on the other hand, has been more open. After the funeral, he pulled me aside and said quietly, "I know she wasn't kind to you. I should have done more. I'm sorry." That broke me. It was the first time anyone in my family ever acknowledged the truth. Some cousins have also admitted they saw Erin's cruelty, but they'll never say it publicly. They say things like, "She was tough on you, but deep down she loved you." I don't buy it. Love without kindness doesn't feel like love. So now, the family is split. Some think I'm heartless. Others secretly agree with me, but are too scared to admit it. My own feelings. Here's the truth I've had to face. I don't miss Aaron at all. I don't wake up crying. I don't scroll through old pictures. I don't feel a hole in my life. What I feel is relief. Relief that I don't have to brace myself for the next insult, the next dig, the next comparison. Relief that the constant shadow of her perfection is gone. But with that relief comes guilt. Because who feels relieved when their sister dies? What kind of person feels lighter instead of heavier? I've been in therapy since Aaron got sick, and my therapist keeps reminding me, you're not grieving the person Aaron was. You're grieving the relationship you never had. And she's right. I don't miss Aaron. I miss the sister I wished I had. The one who could have been my friend, my supporter, my ally. The one who never existed. Final thoughts. To answer the question I asked in my original post. Do I feel sorry for my sister? No, not even now. But I do feel sorry for her kids. I feel sorry for myself, for never having the sister I deserved. I feel sorry for my dad, who finally admitted his mistakes too late. I feel sorry for my mom, trapped in denial. And I feel sorry for the little girl I used to be, who kept hoping Aaron would be kind one day. But Aaron, no. She lived as she lived, and she died as she lived. Needing to be the center of attention, even if it meant tearing others down. My job now is to break that cycle. To be better for her kids, for my future kids, for myself. I don't feel sorry for Aaron, but I do feel free.